CPN-UML's 11th National Congress heading to the decisive phase. KP Oli and Ishwar Pokhrel file candidacies for party leadership. Nepal Cabinet appoints new National Planning Commission leadership, approves key policy and currency decisions. Nepal's President Paudel urges leadership with integrity as Kathmandu metropolitan city showcases innovative urban development achievements. Nepal prepares to send Chitwan-born elephants to Qatar as diplomatic gift made during Qatari King's Nepal visit. Australia moves to toughen gun laws after deadly anti-Semitic shooting at Sydney's Bondi Beach, victims named. And Nepal suffers second consecutive defeat at ACC Under-19 Asia Cup as semi-final hopes fade, goes down to Bangladesh by 7 wickets. Good evening, I'm Sarah Sapsanamarai and this is NTV World Primetime News coming to you live from Kathmandu at 1900 hours Nepal time. Across the globe, it's 1:15 p.m. in London, 10:15 p.m. in Tokyo and just after midnight in Sydney. And now the news in detail. Nepal's main opposition party, the Communist Party of Nepal, Unified Marxist-Leninist or CPN-UML, has entered a decisive phase of its 11th National Congress. Party's chair and former Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has formally filed his candidacy for another term as party leadership. Challenging him is the party's current senior vice chair, Ishwar Pokhrel. Both candidates registered their nominations today at the Central Election Commission office, set up as the closed session venue in Bhrikuti Mandap, Kathmandu, arriving with supporters. Oli submitted his nomination in the afternoon shortly after 3:30, while Pokhrel filed his nomination earlier around 3 o'clock. The Congress has also opened nominations for other key posts and central committee positions. UML's National General Congress will elect a new 301-member central committee, shaping the party's leadership and the direction in the years ahead. Nepal government has approved key appointments and policy decisions at a cabinet meeting in Kathmandu. Dr. Prakash Kumar Shrestha of Arghakhachi has been appointed vice chair of the National Planning Commission, while Professor Dr. Suniti Shrestha Hada of Kathmandu has been named a member. The cabinet has also formed a 3-member high-level dialogue committee to engage with political parties. Cabinet also approved the cross-border movement of Indian currencies as well.
योजना आयोगमा देहाय बमोजिम नियुक्त गर्ने निर्णय भएको छ। उपाध्यक्षमा डाक्टर प्रकाश कुमार श्रेष्ठ अर्घाखाँची, त्यस्तै सदस्यमा प्राध्यापक डाक्टर सुनीति श्रेष्ठ हाडा काठमाडौँलाई नियुक्त गर्ने निर्णय भएको छ। 2. प्रचलित कानुनमा व्यवस्था भएकोमा बाहेक सेवा प्रवाहको प्रक्रियामा कागजतको आधिकारिकताका लागि आय टिकटका रूपमा हुलाक टिकट टाँच्ने अभ्यास, प्रचलन वा व्यवस्थालाई हटाउने निर्णय भएको छ। 3. सन् 2016 नोभेम्बर 9 देखि निष्कासन भएका भारतीय रुपैयाँ 200 तथा भारतीय रुपैयाँ 500 दरका नोट नेपाली वा भारतीय नागरिकले प्रति व्यक्ति भारतीय रुपैयाँ 25,000 को सीमासम्म भारतबाट नेपालमा भित्र्याउन र नेपालबाट भारतमा लैजान सक्ने व्यवस्था गरिएको छ। र 4. विभिन्न राजनीतिक दल र सरकारवालाहरूसँग वार्ता गर्नको लागि उच्चस्तरीय राजनीतिक संवाद समिति गठन गरिएको छ। त्यो संवाद समितिको संयोजकमा माननीय कानुन न्याय तथा संसदीय मामिला मन्त्री अनिल सिन्हा संयोजक हुनुहुन्छ। सदस्यमा सूचना तथा सञ्चार तथा सूचना प्रविधि मन्त्री जगदीश खरेल सदस्य हुनुहुन्छ। त्यस्तै प्रधानमन्त्रीका प्रमुख राजनीतिक सल्लाहकार अजय भद्र खनाल सदस्यको रूपमा रहनु भएको छ।
Nepal's Election Commission has said it is in the final stages of preparing the Code of Conduct for the House of Representatives by-election scheduled for March 5. Under the proposed Election Code of Conduct 2082, all candidates will be required to conduct both campaign, income and expenditure strictly through banks and financial institutions. Candidates must open a separate bank account, keep all bills and receipts, and disclose sources of income to ensure transparency in election financing. The code also requires candidates to declare their spending limits at the time of nomination and appoint a responsible official to manage campaign expenses. All expenditures will be subject to post-election auditing. Political parties will face similar requirements, with spending ceilings expected to range between 2.5 and 3.3 million Nepali rupees, depending on voters and geography. The Commission says the measures aim to strengthen financial accountability in the electoral process. We'll take a short break here. More news coming up. You're watching NTV World. Welcome back to Primetime News. President Ramchandra Paudel has called on all leaders to focus on nation building by internalizing the mandate given by citizens. Speaking at the 31st Kathmandu Metropolis Day, he emphasized leadership with integrity, dedication and innovative thinking to address present needs and hand over a prosperous Nepal to future generations. President Paudel also praised Kathmandu Metropolitan City for achievements in urban management, heritage conservation, greenery promotion and citizen-friendly services, highlighting the role of youth leadership and ICT-based governance. Mayor Balendra Shah shared that KMC invested in infrastructure, street lights, heritage projects and entrepreneurship promotion while ensuring tax revenues benefit citizens. The President urged all levels of government to support policies and programs for effective implementation and sustainable development of the capital. Nepal is set to send 2 elephants, Khagendra Prasad and Rudra Kali, to Qatar as a diplomatic gift, marking the first time the country has presented elephants abroad. A farewell ceremony was held at Chitwan National Park, where the elephants were born and raised at the park's Elephant Reproduction and Training Center, Khorsor. The 6-year-old male and 7-year-old female elephants will be first to be transported to Bhairahova and then flown directly to Qatar via Qatar Airways on 17th of December. 1 veterinarian and 2 handlers will accompany them for a month to ensure their welfare during the journey, considering weather adaptation and transportation needs. Officials confirmed that all procedures for the transfer have been completed. The elephants will be formally handed over to Qatar during the official visit of King Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, strengthening diplomatic and cultural ties between the two nations. The 12th General Convention of the Non-Resident Nepali Association (NRNA) is scheduled for February 23rd to 25th in Kathmandu. The announcement came after a steering committee meeting on Sunday following the unification of different NRNA groups. In a joint press release, General Secretaries Gauriraj Joshi and B.R. Lama confirmed the convention date and highlighted decisions made to strengthen organizational unity and internal management. The association plans regional dialogues to promote NRNA unity among Nepalese worldwide. Nepal's agriculture sector underpins the national economy, but evolving climate risks, market barriers and a lack of proper targeted investments and interventions continue to challenge the country's food security. Bijeta Bhandari brings you more.
Nepal's agricultural sector remains a prominent part of the economy, contributing to over 24% of the national GDP and employing more than 60% of the population. But food security still remains a challenge through factors such as climate change and market constraints. Agriculture is not only the backbone of the economy, but it is also key to meeting Sustainable Development Goal number 2, Zero Hunger, which seeks to end hunger, improve nutrition, and build resilient, sustainable food systems by 2030. According to the statistical information on Nepalese agriculture 2023-24, aggregate production of major cereal crops reached over 11.2 million tons, pulses aggregating to 276,000 metric tons, and livestock like goats numbered in around 15 million. Yet, food security is not assured simply by production. Recent extreme weather events such as unseasonal rainfall further exacerbate production volatility.
Nepal's agriculture sector continues to face growing challenges, particularly due to increasing climate risks and disasters. A recent example is the unseasonal rainfall in October 2025, which caused an estimated rupees 868 million in economic losses and affected approximately 10,840 hectares of cultivated land. Agricultural commercialization and the development of competing markets remain key challenges.
The Nepal Food Forum 2025, Kathmandu, jointly organized by the Government of Nepal and the FAO-led Hand-in-Hand initiative, brought together stakeholders to explore investment-ready value chains and solutions.
फुड एभाइलेबिलिटी खाद्यको उपलब्धताको तहमा मात्रै बुझ्ने गरिन्छ तर खाद्य सुरक्षा त्यो मात्र हैन मान्छेले आफ्नो कल्चरली उले चाहिँ आफ्नो सांस्कृतिक रूपमा मन पर्ने उलाई मन पर्ने र आफूले उब्जाउन सक्ने त्यसमा उसको चाहिँ अपनत्व रहने खालको चाहिँ खाद्य प्रणालीहरु खाएको छ कि छैन त्यो चाहिँ मेन खाद्य सुरक्षाको प्रश्न हो स्थानीय स्तरमा स्थानीय स्रोतहरुको प्रयोग गरेर र स्थानीय चाहिँ किसानहरुको स्वामित्व रहने गरी जब हामीले चाहिँ उनीहरुलाई पुग्ने खालको खाद्यान्नहरु उत्पादन गर्न सक्छौं त्यो अवस्थालाई मात्र खाद्य सुरक्षा भन्ने लाग्छ मलाई.
As Nepal advances its decade of agriculture investment 2024 to 2034, it serves as a reminder. Increasing investment and production is only a part of the equation. Sustainable progress depends on improving market access, attracting targeted investment, and building systems resilient to climate risk. Bijata Bhandari with camera person Samir Thapa reporting for NTV World.
International news coming up next. For now, a short break. Australia's leaders have agreed to tighten gun laws following the country's deadliest mass shooting in nearly 3 decades. 15 people were killed when a father and son opened fire at a Jewish Hanukkah festival at Sydney's Bondi Beach on Sunday, triggering panic among large holiday crowds. A child was among the victims. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese met state and territory leaders on Monday, with officials agreeing to strengthen national gun laws.
Conclude finally by saying that the government is prepared to take whatever action is necessary. Included in that is the need for tougher gun laws. And this afternoon at 4 o'clock I will put on the agenda of the National Cabinet.
Proposed measures include tougher background checks, banning non-citizens from owning firearms and restricting certain weapons. The father was shot dead at the scene while his son remains in critical condition. Authorities say the attack was a targeted anti-Semitic assault. The parents of Ahmed Al-Ahmed are calling their son a hero after he wrestled a gun from one of the Bondi Beach attackers during a deadly shooting that killed 15 people. The 43-year-old fruit shop owner was shot multiple times and is now awaiting surgeries. A fundraiser in his support has already raised over $550,000 in just 12 hours, while footage of his bravery has been viewed more than 22 million times worldwide.
He has a fruit shop that sells fruit and other produce. He's been here since 2006 and he's an Australian citizen. What happened is, his friend told him, "Let's go have coffee at Bondi." They got there and were shocked to see armed men firing their weapons and terrorists. Their lives were in danger. He noticed one of the armed men at a distance, from him hiding behind a tree. My son is a hero. He served with the police and in the Central Security Forces, and he has the impulse to protect people. When he saw people laying on the ground and the blood everywhere, immediately his conscience and his soul compelled him to pounce on one of the terrorists and to rid him of his weapon. At the same moment, the armed man's other friend was on the bridge, or whoever he is. I feel pride and honour because my son is a hero of Australia.
I'm proud that my son was helping people. He saved lives, souls. God would not harm him because he was a do-gooder. My son has always been brave, helps people. He's like that. He saw they were dying and people were losing their lives. And when that guy ran out of ammo, he took it from him, but he was hit. We pray that God saves him.
South Korea's special counsel has released the results of its 6-month investigation into former President Yoon Suk-yeol. The team concluded that Yoon declared martial law to consolidate power and protect his wife Kim Kon-hee from potential legal risks. The investigation reviewed his actions during a period of civil unrest, assessing whether they amounted to an abuse of authority. A total of 24 individuals, including Yoon and former Defense Minister Kim Yong-hyun, are now facing trial. The special counsel says it will maintain indictments, signaling significant political and legal consequences ahead. Cambodia has accused Thailand of conducting airstrikes deep inside its territory, escalating a border conflict and raising concerns for civilian safety near major cultural sites. The alleged bombings reportedly struck areas less than 2 hours from Angkor, the country's famed temple complex. Cambodian Information Minister Net Phektra said Thai F-16 jets flew more than 70 kilometers into Cambodian airspace, targeting multiple locations, including civilian infrastructure far from the immediate border zone. Authorities continue to assess the situation amid rising tensions between the neighboring countries. A tragic bus accident in Colombia's Antioquia department has killed 17 people, including 16 high school students celebrating graduation and the bus driver. The bus plunged into a ravine near Remedios, leaving 20 others injured and hospitalized. Rescue teams worked through difficult terrain to aid survivors. Officials called it a heartbreaking loss for the community, and investigators are now working to determine the cause. International Monetary Fund's Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva has said the global economy is proving more resilient than expected, with growth forecast to remain steady at 3.2% this year and the next. In an interview with the media, Georgieva noted that while stability is encouraging amid global uncertainties, growth still lags pre-pandemic levels. She highlighted structural improvements in several developing countries as key sources of resilience. The IMF is also closely monitoring the U.S. Federal Reserve's year-end meeting amid expectations of interest rate cuts for further signs of global economic momentum. We're going for another short break here. More international news and sports update up next. New York City and the surrounding region were blanketed by season's first snow, transforming streets parks and skyscrapers into a winter landscape. Snowfall accumulated across all 5 boroughs, creating hazardous travel conditions with slick roads and reduced visibility. Major airports including LaGuardia and JFK faced delays due to snow, ice and de-icing procedures. Despite disruptions, many residents enjoyed the scene, photographing snow-covered parks and streets and sharing images of the city's skyline partially veiled by the white blanket. Schools in Delhi and surrounding areas have shifted to online classes, and construction work has been banned as the city struggles with hazardous air quality. On Monday, a toxic haze reduced visibility, delaying flights and trains. The air quality index exceeded 30 times the World Health Organization's safe limit, posing serious health risks, particularly to children and the elderly. Authorities blame a combination of industrial emissions, vehicle exhaust, cold temperatures, low winds, and seasonal crop stubble burning in neighboring states. Now, in Hidaka City, north of Tokyo, Japanese and South Korean children took part in a cultural exchange by making kimchi together. 20 students from a local elementary school and Tokyo Korean school first harvested Chinese cabbage in nearby fields, learning about the differences between Japanese and Korean varieties. At a community center, the children seasoned the cabbage with chili and other spices, working together to prepare the traditional Korean pickled vegetable, fostering cultural understanding and hands-on learning. In France, authorities have culled a herd of cows after a case of lumpy skin disease, sparking clashes with angry farmers. Police used tear gas to disperse protesters who tried to block veterinary staff from euthanizing the animals at a farm in La Baude-sur-Arize. Farmers criticized the government's approach, saying only 1 cow was sick and calling for vaccination instead of mass culling. Unions have threatened nationwide blockades and protests next week as the EU considers a new trade deal with South America, which farmers fear could flood the market with cheap agricultural products. Agriculture Minister Annie Genevard defended the culling, saying it is necessary to protect the broader livestock industry. Time now for sports update. Nepal has suffered a second straight defeat at the ACC Under-19 Asia Cup cricket tournament. In Group B action at Dubai's Seven Stadium, Nepal's Under-19 side lost to Bangladesh by 7 wickets. Earlier, Nepal had gone down to Sri Lanka by 8 wickets in their opening match. After winning the toss, Bangladesh opted to field. Nepal was bowled out for just 130 runs in 31 overs, with Abhishek Tiwari top scoring with 30. Bangladesh chased down the target comfortably, reaching 131 for 3 under 25 overs, powered by an unbeaten 70 from Jawad Abrar. With 2 losses, Nepal sits bottom of the group and will face Afghanistan next, with semi-final qualification now unlikely. Crowds flooded the streets of Mumbai to welcome football superstar Lionel Messi during his 3-day tour of India. The Mumbai event ran smoothly, a contrast to Saturday's arrival in Kolkata, where heavy security made it difficult for fans to get close. From Mumbai, Messi travelled to New Delhi, the final stop of his tour, which includes an exhibition match, a stage event, a football clinic for children, and several high-profile private meetings. At Arun Jaitley Stadium, Messi, joined by Inter Miami teammates Luis Suarez and Rodrigo de Paul, delighted fans with a stadium lap. Delhi Chief Minister Rekha Gupta and ICC President Jay Shah greeted him, presenting Indian cricket team jerseys. Authorities have implemented precautions to manage the anticipated crowds and traffic. And before we wrap up, let's take a look into the headlines once again. CPNUML's 11th National Congress heading to decisive phase. KP Oli and Ishwar Pokhrel file candidacies for party leadership. Nepal Cabinet appoints new National Planning Commission leadership, approves key policy and currency decisions. Nepal's President Paudel urges leadership with integrity as Kathmandu metropolitan city showcases innovative urban development achievements. Nepal prepares to send Chitwan-born elephants to Qatar as diplomatic gift made during Qatari King's Nepal visit. Australia moves to toughen gun laws after deadly anti-Semitic shooting at Sydney's Bondi Beach. Victims named. And Nepal suffers second consecutive defeat at ACC Under-19 Asia Cup as semi-final hopes fade. Goes down to Bangladesh by 7 wickets. That is all for NTV World Primetime News for now. Our next bulletin will be at 2200 hours Nepal time. To join us through our social media and get the latest update from our official website, nepaltelevision.com. I'm Sarah Sapsanamarai. Thank you for staying with us. Have a wonderful evening ahead.
Welcome to the studios of NTV World in Kathmandu, Public Service Broadcasting PSB Nepal's new initiative to make Nepal more visible and audible to the global audience. Welcome on board.
This is NTV World. Facts that speak, insights that matter.
Telling the stories of a changing planet. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Exploring the heartbeat of Nepali creativity. This is NTV World.
The power of story shaped by technology. NTV World.
Unearthing Nepal's hidden heritage. Discovering the timeless Nepal.
Telling stories that endure across centuries.
Where culture breathes, stories bloom.
When the world moves, we make a sense of it. NTV World.
Taste of Nepal. Every recipe, every flavor tells the story.
Journalism in the digital age. Fast, focused, verified.
Stories hold power. Stories reflecting life. Stories of the hinterlands.
Reporting for Public Service Broadcasting.
Reporting for NTV World.
This is NTV World. Welcome to News Hour.
This is NTV World. Welcome to Primetime News.
One story at a time.
Crossing borders, connecting voices. Where Nepal meets the world in dialogue. This is NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Voices that connect Nepal to the world, bringing perspective, region and relevance to every story. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Stand by. Mic is on.
3, 2, 1, cue.
We are NTV World.
What if I told you a story of a place shrouded in mystery and steeped in stones? A place where warriors were born and raised, and their path through the mountains still remain to this day. Ajirkot Gorkha, the unbeaten kingdom.
हामी पाहुनाहरू आउनु हुँदाखेरि हामी यसरी स्वागत गर्छौं अनि अलि-अलि नाचगानहरू देखाउँछौं। मेरो सिंह नेपाल गाउने कि गोरखामा गर्व लाग्छ जन्मिएछु साथै स्वर्गमा म त नेपालकी छोरी भन्छन् गोर्खाली। जस्तो घाटु चुड्काहरू भन्ने चाहिँ विशेष गरी हुन्छ यहाँ।
For those seeking a luxurious escape, there are stunning lodges that offer an indulgent retreat amidst the rugged beauty of this place. But for the true adventurers, this place has it all, from trekking through dense forest of Nagapokari trails to exploring ancient temples and learning the rich history of the region. So, what do you fancy? Are you the solo explorer, or do you prefer luxury within nature? Or perhaps you are the one who seeks to witness it all. Well, after all, life is a box of chocolates, and this place is filled with surprises. Welcome to the place where magic and reality intertwine, where the wonders of nature are both breathtaking and awe-inspiring. From the elevations of 300 meters to a towering 8,000 meters, this place will leave you mesmerized and in awe.
Ça même richesse qui nous vise à préserver pour continuer à exister. Ça même richesse nous vise à préserver, préserver. Oh, oh.
Mauritius is a small island in the heart of the Indian Ocean, where tourism is a major industry contributing significantly to the GDP of the island. Mauritius is home for 1.2 million of inhabitants, and today the country is targeting 2 million of tourism in the coming years. an economic opportunity as well as an environmental challenge for this tiny land.
Ce que nous faisons au niveau de la Tourism Authority, ça englobe dans la perspective du gouvernement, c'est d'aller vers une destination verte avec une certification reconnue d'ici 2030. Et nous sommes en train de travailler avec tous nos partenaires, avec les stakeholders de cette industrie. En termes d'emploi, donc nous comptons presque 30 000 emplois directs, mais si nous comptons au niveau aussi indirect, nous arrivons vers là-bas des 100 000 personnes qui sont liées à ce secteur qui est très prépondérant, mais aussi très importante pour la vie sociale, la vie culturelle de l'île Maurice. Donc il est vrai qu'il faut être prudent dans ce que nous recherchons. Nous ne voulons certainement pas avoir une destination avec une situation de surtourisme qui arrive dans beaucoup de pays, dans beaucoup de destinations, où à ce moment-là, il devient ingérable de pouvoir contrôler un flux où le côté management et le côté destination ne peut soutenir. Donc tout ce qui se fait au niveau du développement, même au niveau du nombre de touristes, on peut avoir les nombres très valorisants, 2 millions, 3 millions, 4 millions, mais est-ce que cela va apporter un plus pour la destination? Ce qu'il faut comprendre et ce que nous essayons de passer comme message, c'est que le tourisme doit faire du bien à la destination avant et non pas l'inverse.
The hotel industry is a major player in the tourism sector, with more than 112 hotels around the island, amounting to more than 13,500 rooms. Thus, a sustainable tourism policy will shape the future of the industry.
Pour nous, aujourd'hui, nous créons un mouvement qui appelle le Positive Impact. L'idée hier, tout a commencé, la bonne attitude, il vient le premier hôtel éco-engagé du groupe Attitude. Nous avons envie de positionner cet hôtel-là différemment. Pourquoi? Parce que nous sommes très conscients qu'aujourd'hui, si nous ne prenons pas en compte l'environnement, le tourisme pas pour venir de nos pays. Donc, on va trouver du monde pour voyager, sortir en Europe pour arriver à Maurice, et ensuite pour trouver des déchets, des saletés, partout dans la plage, dans la mer. Donc, nous décidons pour mettre beaucoup de pledges en place, et le plus important pour nous, ça a été d'enlever tout ce qui est plastique à usage unique à la vue de nos clients. Par exemple, aujourd'hui, dans nos bandes la SAM, nous ne pas mettre du thé café d'ici parce qu'il vient dans un sachet plastique à usage unique. Nous venons avec un concept, une boutique en vrac, donc un bulk shop. Les clients rentrent dans le bulk shop, ils ont un petit pot en verre qui sont capables de remplir de café, de thé, de d'ici. Et nous, en même temps, ce qu'il nous fait en parallèle, nous prenons dans sa pot-là en bulk, nous avons un supplier. Toutes les chambres sont de gagner de l'eau à travers de l'eau chaude, à travers sa solar water panel. Nous offrons de la crème solaire à tous nos clients. Cette crème solaire, elle est fabriquée localement et avec des produits minéraux. Donc si vous servez la crème là ou dans l'océan, il ne pas abîme le monde marin. Nous avons d'autres actions aussi qui nous font, par exemple dans nos bulk shops, nous avons un filet bleu qui nous donne aux clients. Nous encourageons de prendre ça, de attacher ça avec le maillot. Je récupère tous les déchets que je trouvais dans l'océan, ramène-les ici, et ici quand je ramène, qui nous fait, nous séparons. Donc ce qui est capable d'être recyclé, nous avons les recycler. Ce qui n'est pas capable d'être recyclé, nous montrons comment nous sommes capables de faire dans nos éco-ateliers, comment nous sommes capables de faire une décoration avec. Donc beaucoup de clients peuvent venir aujourd'hui parce que de plus en plus, surtout en Europe ou même aux États-Unis, en Australie, les pays commencent à prendre de plus en plus d'ampleur d'être éco-engagés.
The hotel takes great pride in investing in a sustainable education and sensitization campaign to raise awareness and commitment from tourists as well as the local population.
Donc, ce centre-là, c'est un centre qui est ouvert au public. Donc, nous accueillons aussi bien les enfants et aussi les clients de l'hôtel. Et donc, qui nous fait dans ce centre-là? Donc, c'est un centre éducatif et interactif. Et nous sensibilisons Bandimoun à l'environnement. Donc, nous sensibilisons pour protéger l'environnement marin et l'écosystème côtier également. Nous faisons une action concrète avec le client. Nous sensibilisons nos clients à la préservation de l'environnement. Qui action il a à faire liée à ce niveau pour qu'après, quand il aussi retourne dans ce pays, il a à continuer sa bonne action-là.
On a quand même d'autres années. C'est vraiment un outil qui nous sert vraiment pour éducatif, pour montrer les participants qui viennent, les visiteurs qui viennent vers nous, comment ils ont été dehors quand on a fait le snorkeling ou comment nous trouver. Comment tout peut vivre ensemble, en symbiose, les poissons, les corail, comment ils vivent ensemble. Alors imaginez un coup, nous trouvons une bouteille plastique qui peut flotter là. Il n'est pas beau joli. Alors c'est pour ça qu'il nous a vraiment, qui garde tout bien propre.
On immerge un hydrophone en bas de l'eau. Un hydrophone, c'est quoi? C'est pour en fait enregistrer le chant des baleines. Donc ce sont les baleines à bosse principalement, et c'est les mâles qui chantaient pendant la période de reproduction, pour qu'ils nous gagnent d'informations sur les baleines à bosse, sur la reproduction. Et monte base de données d'un individu de tortues marines qui nous mène à Maurice. Donc ce sont des espèces migratrices et ce sont des espèces protégées. Vraiment un centre éducatif parce qu'il nous vient raise awareness avec nos clients pour que les clients prennent conscience de l'environnement et qu'il est important qu'il oui, il vient dans une île, il vient à Maurice, mais nous avons un écosystème riche. Nous avons beaucoup de coraux, nous avons de poissons et qu'il forme partie, il y a un acteur dans sa mouvement Positive Impact.
The footprint of the tourists on the island will equally influence the ecological path that the industry will choose.
Alors c'est quelque chose qui se développe aussi chez nous. On essaie, nous, à notre domicile, d'être éco-responsable. Et effectivement, quand on va à l'étranger et en voyage comme ça, c'est agréable de trouver un endroit aussi où on retrouve ces valeurs-là, et même plus. Quand on fait des efforts chez nous, on se rend compte qu'à d'autres endroits, donc sur votre île aussi, vous faites aussi beaucoup d'efforts. Et c'est important de montrer ça, et c'est important pour les touristes de respecter ça aussi. Je pense que les touristes, à l'avenir, feront de plus en plus attention aux endroits où ils vont et à la pollution.
To improve the sustainable commitment of the tourism industry, the Tourism Authority in Mauritius has launched on a yearly basis a Sustainable Tourism Award, which highlights and encourages best sustainable practices in all sectors of the industry.
Nous avons démarré le premier Sustainable Tourism Mauritius Awards qui récompense l'effort qui a été fait par ces opérateurs-là justement pour aller dans la direction du tourisme durable. Et je dois dire que ça a été un succès parce que l'année dernière, on a eu 115 participants, démontrer la volonté de presque la majorité des opérateurs touristiques mauriciens d'aller vers cet objectif de tourisme durable. Et je dois aussi préciser que le tourisme durable, ça ne concerne pas uniquement les opérateurs touristiques, ça concerne aussi la population.
Mauritius is aiming to secure a sustainable tourism certification, which will confirm the island's commitment towards sustainability. The first step towards that certification starts in a small village in the south, Belle-Ombre.
Nous voulons que la destination Maurice soit certifiée d'ici 2030, certifiée par la GEST ici, la Global Sustainable Tourism Council. Alors, la région de Belle-Ombre nous sert comme cas pilote, donc pour faire cette certification de la destination. Et nous voulons apprendre de Belle-Ombre, de ce qu'ils sont en train de faire de bien.
A sustainable approach in the tourism sector requires a sincere partnership between the various stakeholders, from the major players to the small villagers. Each one should work hand in hand to promote, engage, and also share the benefits derived from the industry.
On reste dans le village Saint-Martin, Belle-Ombre, petit village côtier, pêcheur et laboureur. Actuellement, on a 5 hôtels et beaucoup de monde pour gagner du travail, surtout les jeunes. Et donc, du monde qui fait un petit entrepreneur, ça fait tout ça, bien aide nous. En fait, les bisans win, habitants aussi bisans gagnants dans ces affaires-là. Moi, nous apportons dans ces affaires-là, il y a un petit resto, on fait un petit manger tropical, un petit manger PC. Oui, mais ça marche bien, ça marche bien.
Today, the world is an island, and the sustainable tourism development of one region will, in the long run, share lights of sunshine to one and all.
Nous la canne, c'est nos îles, nous la mer, nous les ciels, la nature qui entoure nous. Réflexe couler nous les cœurs, ça même richesse qui nous vise à préserver. Pour continuer à exister sans même richesse, nous visons à préserver.
Home Bahadur Tamam, a gifted Thanka artist from the spiritual heart of Bodha, has turned his craft into a global bridge between tradition and business.
Thanka चाहिँ मैले 1970 सिक्न सुरुवात गरेको मेरो टिचर चाहिँ म भन्दा अघिल्लो मेरो दाइ हो साइला दाइ मेरो चाहिँ बाउपादेखि नै कलाकार हुनुहुन्थ्यो पाटन भक्तपुर छामेल दरबार स्क्वायरमा यसै पसल बेच्ने काम हुन्थ्यो अनि त्यो बेच्दा मैले यो थाङ्गा चाहिँ विदेशीले किन्दो रहेछ आफैले विदेशसँग बेच्नुपर्छ भन्ने अलिकति मनमा मलाई अलिकति सोच आयो त्यसपछि मैले 2050 सालमा यहाँ सुरु गरेँ आजभन्दा 32 वर्ष अगाडि
What began as a young artist's journey through the streets of Kathmandu has blossomed into a thriving enterprise where sacred art meets business and tourism. With every brushstroke, home brings Nepal's rich spiritual heritage to the world, transforming Thanka painting into a symbol of cultural fusion.
त्यो बेला चाहिँ पसल कोही पनि यहाँ थिएन किनभने त्यो मार्केटले चाहिँ कहाँ मार्केट हुन्छ भन्ने खोज्दो रहेछ त्यो खोज्ने क्रममा म यहाँ आइपुग्यो विदेशीहरू पनि यहाँ त्यति अहिले जस्तो बस्दैन 5 मिनेट 10 मिनेटमा घुमेर जानुहुन्थ्यो त्यतिखेर खाने रेस्टुरेन्ट पनि एकजना मात्रै थियो एउटा मात्रै थियो अहिले चाहिँ होस् त्यो बेला र अहिलेमा धेरै आकाश जमिनको फरक भएको छ
His story is one of passion, innovation, and a deep commitment to preserving tradition while embracing the future.
विशेष गरी यो बौद्ध स्तूपसँग रिलेटेड छ यो बुद्धको शिक्षासँग रिलेटेड यो थाङ्गा चाहिँ संसारको मानिसहरू यो स्तूपलाई घुम्ने क्रममा यो प्रार्थना गर्ने मेन आउने ठाउँ चाहिँ यो रहेछ त्यसो भएको हुनाले यो चाहिँ विशेष गरी ओल्ड हेरिटेज साइटमा चाहिँ त्यो पनि के हो बुद्धिस्टको भएको हुनाले चाहिँ नेपालभरिको नै थाङ्का बिक्ने ठाउँ चाहिँ अति महत्त्वपूर्ण चाहिँ यो नै हो वास्तवमा किनभने रिलेटेड छ यो बुद्धसँग
From the hills of Ramechhap to the heart of Bodha, Home Bahadur Daman has a glorious story to tell. A story of will, determination, struggle, and success.
म आफै पनि रामछाप दुर्गम जिल्लामा जन्मेको चाहिँ रोजगार छैन त्यहाँ स्कुल छैन कलेज छैन हस्पिटल छैन रोजगार छैन त्यसपछि म पनि रोजगारकै क्रममा यहाँ आएर मैले सुरुवात गर्यो अहिले चाहिँ म लगभग 49 वर्ष भयो यही पेसा गरेर दालभात खाएको अब नयाँ पुस्तालाई पनि मैले हस्तान्तरण गर्नुपर्छ है भन्ने मेरो एउटा उद्देश्यले चाहिँ अहिले मैले नयाँ पुस्तालाई चाहिँ गाउँबाट आउनुहुन्छ स्कुल सकेर अनि बिहान चाहिँ कलेज जानुहुन्छ दिउँसो काम छैन त्यस कारणले मैले 3 महिना फ्री ट्रेनिङ दिने गरेको छ उहाँको स्किल अनुसार टेस्ट गरेर हामीले यहीँ तलब दिएर जस्तो बिहान कलेज पनि भ्यायो उसो कति हो त्यसो त्यहाँबाट एक्स्ट्रा टाइम चाहिँ 5 घण्टा 6 घण्टा 7 घण्टा पनि यहाँ जीवन चलाउने चाहिँ काम भइरहेछ अहिले
For 49 years, he painted, taught, and empowered young artisans. Today, his school preserves tradition and creates futures.
हामीले यहाँ सुरुमा इन्टरभ्यु लिन्छु त्यसपछि एक हप्ता चाहिँ नि सानो क्यानभासमा हात ट्रेनिङ दिन्छु त्यसको शरीरको बडीहरू अलिकति ट्रेनिङ दिन्छु अनि एक हप्तापछि ओके भनेर ओके यस भने कोही मानिस नसक्ने चाहिँ नि आधा घण्टामा 1 घण्टामा उठेर गइहाल्छ म सक्दैन ढाड दुख्यो किन उसको मन धेरै भएर गयो त्यो सक्दैन उ आउँदैन एक दिन पनि आउँदैन मात्रै आँखा चाहिँ हुनु पर्यो हामीले अपाङ्गलाई पनि सिकाएको छ जस्तो बाहिर कान नसुन्ने पनि सिकाएको छ आँखा चाहिँ हुनु पर्यो त्यस्तै हो
As interest in Buddhism grows worldwide, so does the appreciation for our sacred art. Foreigners now come not just to admire but to learn, studying our architecture techniques and meditative Thanka traditions, giving new life to what was once known only within our borders.
बुद्धिज्म नेपाल हो नेपालमा जति छन् विश्व सम्पदामा सूचीमा भएको मठ मन्दिर गुम्बद छ यसैबाट उहाँले पनि सिकेको वास्तवमा यो जुन बौद्ध स्तूपरा भनौँ लुम्बिनी त्यो जस्तो त उहाँहरूले बनाउन सक्दैन तर यसको चाहिँ एकदम महत्त्वपूर्ण के छ भगवान या चाहिँ दोस्रो तेस्रो बुद्धको रिलिटिक यहाँ छ जति चाहिँ अहिले संसारमा यो बुद्धिज्म फैलिँदै जान्छ यो महायान बुद्धिज्म त्यतिकै ठाङ्गको भ्यालु चाहिँ बढ्दैछ अहिले जस्तो मेरै कुरा मैले 40-45 वर्ष यति ठाङ्गको महत्त्व थिएन किनभने वर्ल्ड वाइडमा बुद्धिज्म थिएन विदेशीहरूले जानेकै थिएन उनीहरूले त्यो सुरसुर आउँदाखेरि सानो एउटा नेपाल आउँदाखेरि सुपर नेट किन नलैजाऊ भन्ने मात्रै लाइन थियो अहिले चाहिँ उहाँहरू चाहिँ जस्तो अमेरिका युरोप तपाईको यो सिङ्गापुर ताइवान मलेसिया विभिन्न देशमा चाहिँ अहिले बुद्धिस्ट प्र्याक्टिसनर धेरै उहाँहरू चाहिँ गर्नुहुन्छ त्यसको लागि चाहिँ एकदमै महत्त्वपूर्ण छ त्यसकारणले भविष्यमा यो थाङ्गा चाहिँ छ यसको मार्केट छ
As an artist, entrepreneur, and a master, he feels fulfilled, creating beauty, guiding others, and living with purpose.
मैले संसार जीवन जगतलाई थाहा पायो अहिले हामी सांसारिक जीवन छ सांसारिक जीवनमा कसरी जिउने र अर्कोलाई पनि कसरी जिउन दिने कला थाहा पायो त्यसपछि अब जुन देशमा जन्मे पनि जुन कुलमा जन्मे पनि 100% निश्चित के हो भने मृत्यु छ त्यो त निश्चित हो नि एउटै निश्चित छैन कहिले पनि निश्चित छैन तर त्यो मर्नेमा म कसरी मर्ने भन्ने कला पनि थाहा पाएँ मलाई त धेरै परिवर्तन भएको छ मैले परिवर्तन भयो भने के हुन्छ मैले ठुलो पतेरो चढ्यो ठुलो गाडी त्यस्तो होइन तर मलाई खुसी छ सादा दाल भात खान पाएछ मैले परिवार पाल्नु पाएछ यही थाङ्गाले म जापान घुम्यो युरोप गयो चाइना घुम्यो बुद्धिस्ट कन्ट्री सबै घुमेको छ सबै ठाउँमा मैले घुम्नलाई मलाई पैसाको आपत पनि परेन थाङ्गा सँगसँगै लाँदै ब्रिफिङ गर्दै बेच्दै दर्शन बेचेको हो त्यसकारण मलाई त एकदम खुसी छु म त पनि
Welcome to NTV World Insight, a space where we explore ideas shaping Nepal's future. On today's episode, it's a pleasure to have with us a remarkable leader whose work sits at the intersection of education, public, health, governance and social transformation. Dr. S.P. Colony is the chairperson of the Association of International NGOs in Nepal and a lifelong educator and advocate for equitable development. His journey spans classrooms, remote health posts, global partnerships, and some of Nepal's most critical policy debates. Dr. Colony, welcome to NTV World Insight.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
Your experience and engagement extends through so many sectors. What's keeping you a lot busy these days?
Well, a lot of things. My work at Blink Now Foundation, where we do a lot of education work, providing quality education to the children from the most marginalized communities. My work at AIN, as you said, Association of International NGOs in Nepal, and of course some volunteer work in different non-profit organizations.
You started teaching at a very young age and have since worked in education, health and civil society leadership sector as well. What would you say is the moment that actually profoundly shaped your philosophy in development?
Yeah, very good question. I wouldn't say a moment. There have been moments and also, I think, different experiences of my life. My most profound impact in my life has been from my father. My dad was a very hardworking person. I never saw him sit idle. And he'd always say, you work hard, you can have a good life, and also you can also support other people. And that, I think, had a profound impact in my life to start working as a working professional early on. But then I also lost my father at early age, and to a disease which we could not get diagnosed. Mm-hmm. And we didn't have good healthcare system at that point of time. We had to take him to India, but still he did not survive. And so that was a sad experience in my life. But then I encountered so many such situations with other people. Mm-hmm. But then I also got to learn that the similar situation does not exist in other parts of the world. Mm-hmm. There are many good healthcare facilities. There's a good quality care for people from the health institution to the households. So I said, why not to see what we can do in Nepal? And so I got into education initially, but in healthcare sector. And thankfully, we got to establish some good model of healthcare system in the country. The health institutions that have provided care to many people, 1.5 million people, a good quality care free of cost in the rural setup. So been blessed with all those outcomes, but at the same time, the shaping of life. Mm-hmm. I think there are moments in life, but also it's a journey. Mm-hmm. You get to learn at different stages in your life. Mm-hmm. So I would name my father as someone who has influenced me the most.
That definitely sounds like something that fueled your passion towards this sector. And you, on your own place, have done as much as you can. But how do we scale this so that we can make a bigger impact? How have you viewed our overall health sector? There's investment from government as well. I'm not sure if it's adequate or not. What's your observation been so far?
It is certainly not adequate, but I think we've made very good progress in health sector in the last couple of decades. Whether you talk about the maternal mortality rate, reducing infant mortality rate, or even the life expectancy overall has increased. But there's a disproportionate impact in the health of more vulnerable people when it comes to the disease or other kind of epidemic and pandemics that we face. So what we still need to work on is how we can make the health system functional. We've got a very good structure in place from the health institutions at the grassroots level in the community, like primary health centers, municipal hospitals, to the tertiary care hospitals. Our problem is how we make them functional, how we resource them, how we equip them, how we regulate them, how we monitor and evaluate, and how we improve the quality of care. So what we have done is not impossible to do. It is doable, and it is as per the vision of Nepal government. Nepal said that we want to reduce the out-of-pocket expenses, we want to improve the quality of care, and we of course want to make it accessible for every citizen, and that's exactly what we did. And it is doable. So scaling needs a willpower, a strong leadership and governance, but of course we need to increase the resources. Health sector doesn't have enough resource allocated in this country. If you look at the global data, forget about the outlier like the USA. Even if you take the average number, we are nearly 15% below the average public sector investment in health sector, which means that Nepal needs to increase public sector investment, but also we need to work on making the system functional, which also has the managerial aspects, making supply chain work, and also supply of human resources and so on. So if we can make the existing public system really functional, quality, I think people can access quality care at their nearest place.
In the past few decades, every decade we've witnessed some kind of movement that brought about political transformation. But have we managed to institutionalize those transformation, and have we seen some substantive impact in our socio-cultural setting and our standard of life, standard of education and health overall?
Well, that is, although it sounds a general question, but that's a very deep question, Zara. I think institutionalization of any change is the most crucial step in leading change. So any change, whether it's organizational, social, or political, unless they are institutionalized, you cannot bear and experience the fruits of change in a sustainable manner. So what happens is, as the change takes place, you will see some of things happening parallelly. One, there will always be resistance to change. There will be actors who have probably benefited from the previous system and would want same kind of status quo. But then change has happened, and it will be difficult for people to accept. And there will be slowness in implementation of any decisions. There will be forces applied to make sure that the change doesn't implement properly. And also there's going to be a situation where the system institutions are not strong enough to actually institutionalize the change. It could be the lack of human resource, it could be lack of skills to institutionalize those changes. And there's always going to be a situation where if there is a change in leadership, and in case of Nepal, frequent change in leadership, then the problem will arise where people may or may not take the full ownership of that change, which then gets into a dangerous situation of whether you are fully actually implementing the aspirations of the change or not. And therefore, I think what is really important is these aspirations are converted into behaviors, and these behaviors are then built into structures, and these structures are enforced and implemented properly. If that does not happen, there's always a risk of backsliding, which is then very unfortunate. But the most important thing and biggest risk is if this does not happen, if the institutionalization doesn't take place, then that can build frustration within the public, and that will then take to any course. You never know.
We are at present in a very vulnerable state. We're heading for an election, and we witnessed a major movement as well just recently with Gen Z protests, which I think we did so in other countries as well. Do you think this is a global phenomenon or just a generational thing that happens between every generations?
Well, there are, with every new generation, there are different kind of aspirations. You talk to the next generation, 10 years younger people than yourself. The whole thinking process pattern, the way you address any challenges you face, they're all different. It's so different. If I talk to my kids, they come up with completely different perspective, right? And at times it is difficult to fathom where did even they think and learn these things from, right? You don't even get to know that, understand it. So I think catching and addressing those generational aspirations is really important. If the leadership is not such far-sighted and capturing and trying to understand and addressing those aspirations of different generation, that can happen. Protests can happen based on different reasons, but when we're talking about one particular generation right now, there are certainly aspirations. It may be that, for you and me, something that this new generation is talking about is not as important as the importance they give to the same thing. Recently, when the social media ban, probably the older generation, probably did not think that particular demand as important as the Gen Z thought it is. Has it become the part and parcel of life of people? And does it actually completely erode and affect the livelihood of people? So if we do not and cannot understand that, it becomes very difficult. Because even though you and I have willingness to address those, but the importance that we will give would not be as much as they would expect us to be doing, right? And therefore, I think it's really important that these new generations are not only understood and taken as the beneficiaries of what we do, but they are engaged in the conversations and made the partners in the process of finding solutions. I think that's really important. When that thing lacks, the protests like these are bound to happen. We at times fail to understand the kind of wisdom the new generation brings and the kind of different approaches they look at the things and address. So I think it's really important to capture that.
How do you see, considering everything that is happening at present, the scenario unfolding in the next few months or year?
Well, in the future is difficult to predict, of course. We hope as the government plans right now, the elections are held, and then the politics takes a new course, and of course the aspirations the new generation has of accountability, the corruption-free society, these are taken seriously by all the actors, and the new government can address everything that even the current interim government cannot. And so that all the actors become part and parcel of this whole change process and take ownership. So one of the dangers, again, to add to your previous question, when you're leading change, one of the dangers is if the actors in the change process do not feel the ownership of the process that is moving forward, that again becomes dangerous. And therefore, the new generation, the next to Gen Z is going to come soon, right? So if these generations do not feel like we take ownership of what is happening, or we are participating in this whole process, that will create another danger. And therefore, I think it's really important. I hope that moving forward, the generation is going to take part in this whole process and take full ownership of how we move the things, because we need to come out of the emotions and sentiments alone. Of course, that's an important part of human life, but also we need to think about how we resolve the situations. For example, we talk about reduction or what do you call elevation of corruption. How do we do that? We need to come up with the concrete ideas and steps and implement them. And if things are not working, figure them out on a day-to-day basis. We really need to think about providing the solutions. So I hope that the new generation is actually looking at those things, not only expecting some other people to deliver on it and express their frustration, but be part of actually finding solutions, and they actually become those leaders to address the solutions. Whatever way they do, but their participation would really be important, I think.
Just to stretch on what you just said, what would be an ideal step-by-step thing that we could do to make sure all our financial activities of the government and everything is transparent and that we deal with corruption?
Well, when you talk about corruption, it sounds like it's a responsibility of government, right? It is, but that's not absolute answer, right? We are all responsible for creating a corruption-free society. How do we do that? It is easier to question people, question others. I mean, right now you will question people, whoever is in the government, and then tomorrow you're going to question the person, whoever next is in the government. And therefore, I think it is important, as we said earlier, about making change a culture. And how do we create a culture of no corruption? That will need to start from our families, from our institutions, from our communities, and so on. But then if the government does not take initiatives, does not create that kind of infrastructure and policy environment, then for the individuals and communities it becomes difficult. So it needs to be both the ways, but we should also think about it is our collective responsibility, right? It is not going to be, when we say step by step, what may easily come to our mind is, okay, have policy in place, enforce it, right? Have maybe a stronger punishment mechanism, and that's going to work. Of course it will. Well, that needs to happen. But then there's more steps that we need to take if we really want to get into that. So I'll just give you an example of, like, I think it was my first or second Europe visit. I was standing in at a store to buy a cell phone. Not cell phone, but the SIM card.
This is here in Nepal?
No, outside in Europe, in Finland.
Okay.
So, I was struggling to get that SIM card inserted into the phone. It used to be non-digital at that time. So the shopkeeper actually helped me. It was maybe for a couple of minutes. I was standing there. I didn't even realize that there were like 50 people standing behind me. They were waiting patiently for their turn. And because they didn't make any sound, I didn't even notice there were people behind me. And I felt so ashamed that I was blocking them, getting my thing done. But then I also felt like, if it was in my community, maybe people would be shouting and pushing and, trying to get and grab and So, of course, you expect that the government makes and creates those rules and mechanisms, but unless I have my discipline of, performing, acting accordingly, my life becomes like that. Enforcement of law alone doesn't change, right? So I think it has to be both the ways. Of course, government will need to take very strong initiatives to control, but also we need to look at it from our individual and institutional perspectives.
Like they say, change starts from yourself.
Exactly. Yep, true.
Now, let's take a look at our education sector. There's clearly a divide since so many years, in fact, of private education and public education. We're clearly creating two different sorts of human resource. And then it ultimately culminates into sending two types of workforces as well. We're creating workforces, one for the Gulf nations that solely work to make a living, the other to the developed countries who either go there for education, higher education, or skilled jobs. Where are we lagging?
I think in your question, one of the biggest concern that underlines, I think, Sarah, is how do we avoid getting into the generational inequality, right? Which is a very big problem that will happen if we do not address it right now. Which means that you have you have a good wealth, you can afford good schools, your kids can go to good schools and they get better opportunities, and your kids' generation and their kids' generation, in the inequality with the kind of school they can afford and with those who cannot afford, that will continue. This generational inequality, that can cause another kind of conflict in the societies. So it is really important, your question of how do we address that gap. Well, we are in a world where I think you wouldn't be in a position to say that nationalize everything, governments should run all the schools, and then so all the private schools are shut down, and that's how you're gonna create equality. I think we've heard those kind of political, social, economic voices also, but that has not translated into reality. So what is the workable solution in that case? It's only that we improve the quality of public schools. It's only through improving the public school system that you can sort of like bridge that gap. What do you need to do? There are a lot of things. Invest in infrastructure, like healthcare we talked about. We need to improve the infrastructure of education. We need to continue to provide support to educators. With this recent change of federalism, there has again been the gap created where the school teachers feel there's lack of support system now than it used to be in the past, which is very unfortunate. So remember, like we had district education office, there were school inspectors that would go and provide support, do the monitoring and evaluation. So during this change process, there has been some gaps, and we have got this basic school system under the local government now. But we really need to empower the local government so that they can provide support and do the monitoring evaluation. If not, then the provinces need to take that role and provide that support to the school. So, like I said, improve infrastructure, also provide the support to the school educators, teachers, where it could be providing them refresher training, or also pedagogical support. How do you better teach the students so that they can learn better? And also a continuous monitoring and evaluation, so that if you perform well, you get rewarded. You know, a system of reward and punishment needs to be put in place, and that will help empower and improve our public education system. Then you can have public and private school providing similar quality of education, and you lessen that gap of that we're talking about created by this.
Just a day ago, I had a conversation with World Bank's Division Director, David Sislin, and he mentioned something when I talked about remittance, how we receive a huge chunk of it, but we're not being able to properly utilize it so that we could materialize it into something productive. How do you see this whole thing? No,
I think that I would agree with him. One, we need to think about the people that are sending us the remittance to run this country. How can we actually systematize that, improve that, which means that how can we train people so that the trained human resource goes out, and if they actually need to go out and work outside, which should not be banned, but of course they can actually earn better, contribute better, and give back to the country better. And also then your question of how we better utilize the resource we get from their earning. So I think the revenue that we get through the remittance, it should not only be linked to the development of the country, it should also be linked to the what you call the senders, the remittance senders, their own pride. Right? This is what I have contributed to the country. Do you think any person who is in Gulf country earning money, sending money to this country, feels proud of sending that money here? Maybe he does, because he or she does, because they are able to take care of their families. But it could be converted into a sense where you say that your contribution has helped this country develop so much. We have created this infrastructure, we have created this development initiative. And so you take that ownership. And wherever you are, whichever part of the world you are in, whatever contribution you have made, if you feel like, oh, my contribution is actually, in fact, wherever I am, it is contributing towards development of my country, that would be much better. And so there can be some creative and innovative ways of utilizing that remittance, and also proper communication of how it is being used to those people who are contributing is equally important, I think, so that they can feel proud.
There's so much to do to develop our country, of course, but it feels almost like we are in a state of stagnancy at the moment because of the political changes that have happened recently. How do we go about creating good quality jobs for people so that we can retain the quality human resource?
Well, I think it's a multifaceted approach that we need to take. One, we need to focus on what's available in this country, what can actually be grown. For example, the potential that we have. It could be agriculture, it could be tourism, it could be hydroelectricity, or whatever potential that we have. How we harness that, and any job creation. Any innovation, if we can link that with our potential of this country, that's one thing we need to look at. That will help us grow the number of jobs. And second, we need to focus on the training, the kind of training we provide. How can we create and provide the vocational training or technical training so that our production can actually think about, all right, so 1,000 megawatt of electricity produced from this particular river. So entire human resource we do, and we invest, and then we create everything, right? So I think it is important to look at the skill set of individuals, and at the same time we should also look at the potential that we have in this country. A good match of that will really be helpful. And also I think we have an opportunity of Nepali diaspora outside, really skilled people, very smart people, and they could come back and work, they could invest and help. So there's a lot of potential that we can actually work on.
Dr. Koloni, as chair of AIN, you've spoken about regulatory frameworks that risk constraining the civil society. What, in your view, is the ideal balance between accountability and freedom of NGOs in Nepal?
Right. So I think we have to have a balance of two things. One, there has to be high freedom. Another, high accountability. If we put them together, you asked about balance, I think it's a balance of freedom and accountability, and that actually is going to create a healthy civil society. So what does that mean? That means that the civil society organizations are given freedom of association, freedom of expression, freedom of advocacy, freedom of contributing into the legal process or lawmaking process in the country, so all of that. But at the same time have a space for their self-regulatory mechanism, but at the same time the organizations are accountable towards their own process, whether it is about auditing system, delivering impact on the areas that they have selected to work in. So if we can create that balance, and the state considers the civil society organizations as partners, thinking that how can we go together and co-create some of the innovative ideas, because civil society organizations have a high potential to generate innovative ideas because they work in a limited space, even though it's an investment of a small resource, but then with the kind of scope of work they have, new innovations can come. So if the state can treat the civil society organizations as the partners, and there is that balance of freedom and accountability, that creates a balanced and prosperous civil society.
You've helped advance integrated digital health records in Nepal, especially in rural areas. What is needed, you think, to scale such innovations nationwide within government systems?
Oh yeah, so we need multiple things. For example, you need a strong leadership, you need a vision, you need finances, you need infrastructure, all of these things. But at the same time, in terms of adoption of innovation, there's a lot of literature that talks about innovation adoption takes place in phases. There are people who innovate, right? So they own and they adopt it well. And there are people who will quickly adopt the innovation new ideas, new technology, and will start utilizing it. There are, they call early majority. There will be people following that. There are late majority people who will come slowly to adopt it. And there are laggards, people who need to be dragged along, right? So whenever we talk about innovation, there are going to be different kinds of people. We need to bear that in mind. But at the same time, that's also a change process, like we spoke earlier about political change or other. So in any innovation, that's a change process. So how do you create a sense of urgency that we need this particular new technology? When we did Nepal EHR, so of course, there was a lot of resistance, you can imagine. Of course, there was a support from the government side that we need to do, but there was not enough resource. We were able to put that together. And then there's a human aspect of, as I said, how do you adopt innovation? So you need to change behavior. If you are a person, you like technology, still if you are used to writing on the paper, it's going to take time for you to start typing on the computer. So how do you bring those people on board? For me, what was the biggest motivator when we looked at the whole process was the impact generated by the technology itself. For example, I'll just give you an example of, you have the whole patient history recorded on the computer, on the digital system. And that entire process initially feels like burdensome for the person doing that work. Because like instead of writing on the register, you are like typing everything. If you're not used to it, it's going to take some time. But then the patient comes for follow-up, you just hit a click, everything is there, right? So I feel like, oh wow,
it's rewarding.
Exactly. So that's the kind of reward. You see that in your experience. And then you start like loving it. It just helps. It is not, again, like what we need to think about. It's not about replacing paper by computers. It is about how we use technology to improve care delivery. So in terms of scale, to your question, I think we need to work on infrastructure, which is improving gradually. Government needs to prioritize. We already have a strategy in place. And there needs to be a steady, stable government with the vision that we are going to be doing this within a certain period of time. It'll get done. You'll get a lot of support.
Change is a gradual process. There will be resistance, but there are also rewards.
Oh, yes.
But one step at a time.
One step at a time, exactly.
Dr. Koloni, it's always so good to have a conversation with you. Thank you so much for being on NTV World Insight.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me here. Always good to talk to you. So, thank you.
And thank you too for watching our program. Do join us on our social media pages and also visit our official website nepaltelevision.com for more news and information. Until next time.
Everest, I would say, is high, but it's easier to climb than Makalu. Makalu is a little bit technical. Kanchenjunga is very high. It's technical and it's isolated. Everest, you get internet on base camp all the time. Camp 2 is quite big. Camp 2, you get internet again. Now people even have internet on Camp 4. So I would say Everest is easier, it's higher, difficult for sure, but Makalu and Kanchenjunga are less climbed and they are definitely harder. And Kanchenjunga was very hard. They have different challenges, but I think K2 is definitely more technical, more harder. So K2 has different challenges, but both mountains have different challenges. If I have to compare the two, K2 is more. So I'm planning to climb Shishapangma in autumn because China sometimes doesn't give permits out. It's better to climb when the permits are being given. and I'm planning to climb Dhaulagiri next year in spring. I always take one Sherpa, and I climbed in Nepal mostly with Imagine Nepal, one peak with 7 summits. I always go with one Sherpa because I think it's safer. I mean, when I send, mostly I just keep going. I don't need anybody, but if any emergency happens, then it's better to have a guide with you, and a local guide who knows the mountain. I'm strong enough. Sometimes I'm just going by myself. I do need oxygen, so they carry it. But I am a mother of 2 small girls, so I will not climb without the help of Sherpa. It's something usually mothers, like I haven't seen any young mothers on the mountain, so it's not, because it's not easy to leave your young kids. Anything can happen if you die, then who's going to look after the kids. But I have some sort of confidence. Maybe people will not agree, but I know I will come back down for my young girls. And usually people say, how can you leave your young girls behind? But when I'm on the mountain, I have a difficult moment. I think about my daughters, that my daughters need me, so I need to go back no matter what. So I put extra effort. I'm more focused just because I know I have 2 daughters home. So they've been my strength, not my weakness. I think collaboration is very important. Like you said, Pakistan and Nepal has most number of 8,000 meter peaks. We can learn a lot from Nepal when it comes to tourism, because we are very behind. Your economy, you get in your GDP, most of the revenue comes from tourism, and we have beautiful mountains like Nepal, but we have very minimal revenue that comes from tourism. So we can learn definitely from Nepal, and the process is like everything. When we get to Nepal, to when we get to base camp, to summit, back, and then out of the country, it's like I love the process in Nepal. We are very far behind, and but we have tourism potential. So I think we can collaborate in that sense, where we can learn from Nepal experience. I don't see many Nepalis in Pakistan, so I mean we should promote tourism of Nepalis also, and Pakistanis coming also to each other's country. There's definitely room for improvement when it comes to collaboration between the 2 countries, and I know we love Nepali and Nepali also love us, so yeah, we need to make use of that. I think first time the process of coming in, because in Pakistan it was hard. Now it's improving. As soon as we come in, it was easy. People are really nice. I think most Nepali I met are nice, friendly. They know how to communicate, and yeah, I think that was the best part, the friendliness of the Nepali people and the kindness. Hardship for me personally is being away from family. So Kanchenjunga, for example, I said is isolated. It's very far from connectivity. So not being able to speak to the family, for example, was the hard. I mean, nothing that I had no difficulty from Nepal itself or the people from Nepal, but just being away from family and emotional difficulty.
Experience has always been good. Nepali, if I say Nepali, I would say धेरै राम्रो छ. मलाई नेपालको tourism मेरो experience धेरै मन पर्छ, खुसी लाग्छ नेपालमा. यस्तो घर जस्तो vibe हो. I've loved Nepal. This country has accepted me a lot, and it's a pleasure for me to be here always. If we talk about Nepal, I think it's more commercial, and I think the tourism in Nepal is very fast in Pakistan, but now eventually in Pakistan it's growing as well. But if I compare Karakoram or Himalayas, Karakoram are more steeper and more difficult, more technical to climb, and the specific region and the moving glaciers and everything that make them more difficult, and especially the change of weather. So I believe that the Karakorams are more difficult to climb. I've seen a lot of Sherpas in Nepal, in Pakistan, who come to climb a lot of mountains. Mero super साथीहरु नेपालको every season they come to K2 and Nanga Parbat and Rock Peak to climb that mountain. And they are one of the elite climbers as well. So in Pakistan there is much respect to the Sherpas. इन पाकिस्तान यस्तो हो गयो शेर्पाहरू सबै धेरै मनपर्छ पाकिस्तानमा यो चाहिँ सेम घर जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई त तीनवटा कन्ट्री त मनपर्छ तिब्बतमा अलिकति गाह्रो छ यसको पर्मिटको भिजाको अलिकति गाह्रो छ अनि नेपालमा त इजी पाकिस्तानमा इजी हो मलाई त राम्रो लाग्छ इट्स मोर लाइक Nepal or Pakistan friendship expedition, something like that. And I think it's a great idea. It should be initiated. And we are up, me, Sarvaz, Naila, we are one of the Pakistani climbers. And yes, of course, in Nepal there are a lot of climbers as well. So we can combine the expedition. We can launch it to Everest or K2, whatever it feels like.
I climb Nanga Parvat solo, also Broad Peaks. Then K2, I have one Pakistani climbing partner. Sherpa in last one day, just and Camp 4 to Camp 4, I use Sherpa. जिस कंपनी में मैं आया था उन्होंने कहा कि नहीं आप अकेले क्लाइंब कर सकते हैं लेकिन विंड बहुत ज़्यादा है लेकिन आपको शेरपा लेके जाना पड़ेगा फिर आखिरी दिन वो शेरपा साथ दिया तो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह वो शेरपा के ने बहुत सपोर्ट किया शेरपा ने भी विंड भी बहुत ज़्यादा था तो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह समिट हो गया उस वजह से इस माउंटेन इज़ नॉट डिफरेंट मुश्किल वो भी है मुश्किल ये भी है यहाँ पे लोग कहते हैं कि माउंट एवरेस्ट बहुत आसान है लेकिन ऐसा नहीं है यहाँ के जो लोग हैं उन लोगों ने काम किया है इस वजह से यहाँ पे आसान है अदरवाइज़ आप ख़ुद से जिस तरीके से हमने क्लाइंबिंग की यहाँ पे ख़ुद से अगर क्लाइंबिंग करें आप अपना जूता खुद पहने अपने लिए पानी खुद बनाएं अपने लिए रूट खुद बनाएं तो ये बहुत आसान काम नहीं है क्योंकि मैंने देखा है एवरेस्ट के अंदर एवरेस्ट का कैंप 4 तक बेस कैंप से कैंप 4 से समिट इतना ही डिस्टेंस बराबर है तो डेथ जोन के अंदर आप 6-7 घंटा 12 घंटा आप रहते हैं आसान नहीं है तो हर पहाड़ का अपना एक खेल है जैसा K2 है K2 के ऊपर एवलांच वगैरह होते हैं आइस फॉल होता है रॉक गिरता है यहाँ पे ये नहीं होता लेकिन उसके बदले में फिर इसकी हाई बहुत ज़्यादा हाई है और लंबा बहुत ज़्यादा है तो इंसान है बहरहाल वो क्या कहते हैं कि तकलीफ़ होती है हर जगह पे हर पहाड़ का अपनी एक तकलीफ़ है तो बहरहाल ये मेरे लिए बहुत अच्छा एक्सपीरियंस था मैंने बहुत कुछ सीखा यहाँ पे नेपाल में आके क्योंकि यहाँ पे जिस तरीके से लोग काम करते हैं इवन बेस कैंप से लेके टॉप तक जो लोग काम करते हैं अगर इस तरीके से अगर हम कोशिश करें पाकिस्तान के अंदर अगर हमारे जो क्लाइंट्स हैं इंटरनेशनल लेवल के जो क्लाइंट्स आते हैं उनके लिए इस तरीके से प्रोफेशनल तरीके से हम अगर खिदमत करें तो डेफिनेटली पाकिस्तान के अंदर भी बहुत ज़्यादा टूरिज़म आ सकता है क्योंकि हमारे यहाँ पे एक पाकिस्तान के अंदर एक चीज़ की कमी है कि प्रोफेशनल लोग बहुत कम हैं यानी जैसा माउंटेन गाइड्स है ही नहीं कोई मतलब सरबाज वगैरह जो अभी जो नए लड़का है ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा अगर आने वाले 2-3 साल में ये एक आध होंगे तो हमें इनिशियल स्टेज पे यहाँ पे किसी तरीके से हमें कोई ऐसा एक्सेस मिल जाए कि हमें कोई ट्रेनिंग्स मिल जाए जिस तरीके से यहाँ पे लोग काम करते हैं इसी तरीके से अगर हम पाकिस्तान में भी थोड़ा सा अवेयरनेस के साथ अगर हमें 1 साल की अगर ट्रेनिंग दे दे तो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह हमारे लोग भी बहुत ज़्यादा तगड़े हैं तो क्योंकि जो क्लाइंट जो है वो सर्टिफिकेशन देखता है तो वो देखता है कि कितना ट्रेंड है और कितना मरतबा इसके पास एक्सपीरियंस है तो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह एक्सपीरियंस तो हम लोगों के पास भी बहुत है लेकिन सर्टिफिकेशन नहीं होने की वजह से मतलब फॉरेनर जो है जो हमारे पर ट्रस्ट कम करता है तो ज़्यादातर पाकिस्तान के अंदर भी नेपाल से जो शेरपाज है उनको लेके आते हैं और उनके ऊपर ज़्यादा ट्रस्ट किया जाता है हमारे ऊपर ट्रस्ट कम किया जाता है
I like it when someone says you looks like a Sherpa or you say that someone says you are like Sherpas you're like strong with Sherpa. I'm very happy because in this world in this our climbing community Sherpas like brand so I'm very happy when someone says you looks like Sherpa or you like Sherpa. Oh yeah, in 2021, COVID time, he said, oh, Nepali or Pakistani passport. I said, oh, come on, man. I'm from Pakistan. So yeah, my look is Tibetan and my mother from Skardu, and yeah, I climbed my first 8,000 is Nanga Parbat with Sherpas. So maybe Imaji is the first K2 Winters summiter, and I'm lucky I climbed with Imaji my first 8,000. Yeah, even I start my climbing career with Sherpas. So till now, I think 90% of my 8,000ers are climbing career with Sherpas. So most of my climbs with Nepali Sherpas in Pakistan, Nepal, and in Tibet, China. Like Tikcha, yeah, like this, yeah. Yeah, I feel when I come to Nepal, I feel like my second home, to be honest. And all Sherpas, even 80% of Sherpas, they know me. They know me. And I have good relations with Sherpas. They respect. I think who are living in the mountains, almost same culture, same honesty, and yeah. Little bit food is a little bit different, but yeah, I think who are living on the mountains, connect with the nature. So both are the same, but so we need to extend our seasons. Like autumn, we have good autumn and spring also, but we have no qualified climbers, guides. So we need work on this, and then we, yes, inshallah. Alhamdulillah, because when I start my climbing career in 2016-17 and I climbed my first 8,000er Nanga Parbat, that time I announced Mission Summit 14 without oxygen. But later on Annapurna, Kanchenjunga and Everest, the last part, I feel the weather was very bad and strong winds. I use oxygen. So I repeat this year these three peaks, like K2 in last year, Annapurna and Kanchenjunga this season. So I'm very happy. This is the big, I think, in adventure tourism, like in climbing. You can say it's a FIFA World Cup, like when you are climbing without oxygen, without Sherpa. But we help. We need without Sherpa's help. You can say without Sherpa. So without oxygen, I complete my Mission Summit 14. And become first Pakistani. This is not for me or not my family. It's this record for whole Pakistan. So I'm feeling very proud, to be honest. After 8 years, I complete my big dream. I think this is sometime when I remember my all past and my climbing career. I feel very different because I came as a kitchen boy, as a porter. I worked as a kitchen boy 6-7 years when I was in college. So after 8 years, when I complete my Mission Summit 14, it looks like a dream. It looks like yeah, of course, different experience because it's involved weather, it's terrain, yeah. But it's most difficult is of course Kanchenjunga and Annapurna here in Nepal, in Pakistan K2 and Nanga Parbat. So every peak have different terrain, different hardness, or its difficult level is. Yeah, Manaslu is like I think easiest mountain in Mission Summit 14, like in Pakistan G2 and Manaslu in Nepal is easiest. Yeah, sometimes it's like 2 years, 3 years ago, the BKO launch came and even our team, 3 Sherpas injured. Yeah, sometimes it's more, mountain is mountain. We can't fight against the nature like yeah. Sometimes happen. Every mountain is like a difficult level is different, but yeah, sometimes easy. You can say yeah, this is easy, but it's like remember in Shishapama last year in 2023, big accident there, and Gina from US and one of the Lama, one of the best climber in Nepal, we lost. Sometimes it's happened like this. If you have manpower, Yeah, Annapurna first. Between Camp 2 and Camp 3, you can't understand what happened. When you are climbing between Camp 2 and Camp 3, sometimes your breath level is like, I can't explain because I climbed 2 times, so I feel inside. So I climbed 3 times K2, but I think in Pakistan we have very strong climbers, but like trainings, even here in Nepal, I think 3-4 big like NNMGA, IFMGA, like this institute, but in Pakistan till now, single person we have not certified, IFMGA certified. But I think in Nepal, 80 plus IFMGA guides. So we need collaboration with Nepal or like Norway. So we need to establish some good institutes, schools, training schools. Then hopefully we have in future we improve in climbing and in tourism department. Nepal is like really they make good rules and regulations for tourists. What you need, is freedom. Everything is available. Yeah, every year more people, more climbers visiting Nepal, and more ability, like IFMGA guides, more they add every year like 5-6. So this is a good sign for Nepal to boost adventure tourism in Nepal. In starting days, I faced very difficult because I have no sponsors. But Migmaji is like my brother. He helped me a lot, and yes, if I'm here this time in Nepal, and I do because of him. He's helped like his brother, and Alhamdulillah, I hard worker, and God give me a opportunity and give me success one by one, and now I am here. And after my 6th peak, I got first sponsors, local sponsor from Pakistan. Then till now I have because before 6th I visited 2 times in Nepal, once Manasu and Slotse. So that time Migmaji gave me an opportunity to come to Nepal and climb with my company, and I already 2 trainings from here, me and Abdul Joshi and Suhail from Pakistan. So in future, yes, but now I am getting old. So my plan is like this. I want to introduce IFMGA in Pakistan, the most important thing. We have no single one, IFMGA certified single one. So we need to establish some schools, some training centers. And I work with as a guide. It's different question. I think so. I don't like even too much branding, but I work as a ground level to establish one school and more people to involve in climbing, because we have potential. We have 5,000 or 6,000 and 7,000, even in Pakistan, unclimbed peaks also. So I want to try to establish one good school, and yes, I have some. I already start my book. So we are thinking about also a documentary, good documentary, not like maybe 20%, little bit up and down, but 80% I want to try natural, not like fake. Good friend, my partner, Saad Munawar, he's just 3 days before he climbed from north side, Everest. He's the first Pakistani to climb from north side. From north side. So he's a nice writer also. So we together.
So from
when humans are approached and interfere in the nature, yeah, there was, but we need to clean, because you saw nowadays, last 3-4 years, climate change, like we don't understand what happened on whole, but we have big glaciers. The most affected areas, I think, in Nepal and Pakistan, because we have big glaciers like Siachen, Himalaya here, Siachen, Baltoro, Biafo. So we need to protect also our glaciers.
Pakistani climbers today here, and this is also a shared heritage of Pakistan and Nepal, that out of 14 8,000ers, 13 of us, 13 we share between us. And K2 in Everest, you can see on the plaque that is also on the right on my wall, that we share this heritage. And recently I also congratulate Nepal for holding Sagarmatha Sambad, which highlighted that ecology and the mountains' fragile ecology is not a given, and we need to do something to protect it. And in doing so, I think we celebrate our climbers, and we also celebrate those who are preserving it and the geography of the region. Climbers, some of them are here, they can also join them, and then they can have a joint expedition both to K2 and Everest.
Two alleged gunmen who killed 15 people at a Jewish celebration in Sydney's Bondi Beach were a father and a son, police had said, as Australia mourned victims of its worst gun violence in almost 30 years. Officials described the shooting on Sunday as a targeted anti-Semitic attack. The father, a 50-year-old, was killed at the scene, taking the number of deceased to 16, while his 24-year-old son is in critical condition in the hospital, police had said. Police named the younger man as Navid Akram and the older man as Sajid Akram and raided their home late on Sunday. Authorities also said that they had recovered 6 guns that were legally owned by the older man. Witnesses said the attack at the famed beach, which was packed on a hot evening, lasted about 10 minutes, sending hundreds of people scattering along the sand and into nearby streets and parks. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese convened a meeting of the leaders of Australia's states and territories in response, agreeing with them to strengthen gun laws across the nation. Albanese has proposed tougher gun laws a day after gunmen killed 15 people in the mass shooting at the Sydney beach.
And I want to conclude finally by saying that the government is prepared to take whatever action is necessary. Included in that is the need for tougher gun laws. And this afternoon at 4 o'clock I will put on the agenda of the National Cabinet.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, joined by Jared Kushner and European partners, engaged in high-stakes peace negotiations in Berlin aimed at ending the nearly 4-year war with Russia, with talks set to continue on Monday. Zelensky abandoned Ukraine's long-held aspiration to join NATO in favor of seeking legally binding Western security guarantees, a major policy shift designed to unlock support for a ceasefire. The discussions, which lasted more than 5 hours, focused on a U.S.-backed peace plan and broader economic and political issues, according to Witkoff, that described significant progress, though no final agreement was reached. Zelensky reiterated Kiev's rejection of territorial concessions to Russia, even as he offered to forego NATO membership in exchange for robust guarantees similar to Alliance's Article 5 Mutual 5 defense commitments. The talks reflect mounting pressure from Washington and European capitals to seek a diplomatic resolution amid ongoing Russian military pressure. Zelensky framed the security guarantees as essential to deterring future Russian aggression, while tensions persist over how to satisfy all parties' core demands. No breakthrough has been announced, and negotiations are scheduled to resume, underscoring continued divisions over territory, security assurances, and the shape of any ceasefire agreement. When she first started learning to ride a motorbike 15 years ago, Mariam Geliz would drive through Tehran's empty streets at night to avoid over her clothing or lack of a license. Now an instructor, Geliz has trained hundreds of women, helping them navigate not only the capital's gridlocked streets, but the barriers facing female motorcyclists in the conservative Islamic Republic, with a marked surge in demand for lessons in recent months. The growing interest reflects both economic pressures and shifting social attitudes. With soaring fuel prices and chronic traffic congestion, motorbikes offer a cheaper, faster alternative to cars in Iran's major cities. For many women, riding is also an act of quiet defiance in a country where they are legally barred from obtaining a motorcycle license, leaving them vulnerable to fines, bike confiscation, or harassment. Despite the ban, enforcement is inconsistent. Social media has played a key role in connecting female riders, allowing them to share routes, safety tips, and legal advice, as well as images that challenge stereotypes of Iranian women. Officials have periodically warned against women riding motorbikes, citing religious and cultural norms, yet no explicit nationwide law bans it. Soil health is drawing unprecedented attention in Vietnam as intensive farming practices and the overuse of chemicals to boost production are creating long-term risks for agriculture. In response, the Ministry of Agriculture and Environment of Vietnam is drafting a national soil health strategy to 2030 with a vision to 2050 alongside an action plan for soil management. Across the country, restoring soil and nurturing sustainable harvest are becoming guiding principles for farmers and agribusinesses alike. on the same rice fields, two generations are now taking very different approaches. While older farmers still rely on experience and observation to check water levels and pests, younger farmers use smartphones and digital applications to assess crop health and identify precise treatment needs. These digital plant doctors with accuracy rates above 95% are helping farmers cut back on excessive pesticide use. As crops gain digital tools to stay healthy, protecting the soil itself has become the next challenge. Since 2017, thousands of soil samples across the country have been collected and analyzed. The research has led to the development of soil-friendly fertilizers that are now available on the market. The company is willing to make big long-term investments and accept high risks so Vietnam's agriculture can develop on a long term. The first snowfall of the winter in northern Africa at the beginning of the cold season is affecting the eastern Middle Atlas in Morocco, making it one of the most prominent areas to receive snow each winter season. Significant snowfall has covered the entire region. This snowfall comes at the beginning of the cold season, affecting the eastern Middle Atlas in Morocco, making it one of the most prominent areas. The snow has not only transformed the natural landscape but also given the villages and surrounding areas a wide, picturesque appearance. Such snowfall helps recharge water resources in wells and nearby valleys. It is also expected that these snow accumulations will have a positive impact on the agricultural season, particularly in areas that rely on rain and snow to provide water reserves essential for farming in the coming months. In the rugged mountains of southern Turkey, 96-year-old Emin Tektaş continues a way of life few could endure even at a much younger age. Living near Antalya and known by locals as Melinin, Tektaş spends her days herding goats across steep rocky terrain stretching towards the Taurus Mountains. With a bag slung over her shoulder and a walking stick, she seems to know by heart the route. She has been guiding her animals through these mountains for nearly 70 years. Every morning she begins her day with the same determination, walking the same narrow mountain paths she has followed for decades. Despite her old age, Tektaş refuses to give up her life as a shepherd. Her deep affection for her animals keeps her going. Far from the city center of Antalya, in isolated rocky hills, she has spent more than half of her life surrounded by nature. The mountains have become her home, her goats, her family, and solitude her longtime companion. Towns across Europe and beyond, streets turned into scenes from a Charles Dickens novel as the annual Dickens Festival delighted visitors with a festive journey back to Victorian England. Actors dressed in 19th century costumes portrayed famous characters such as Oliver Twist and the Artful Dodger, while horse-drawn carriages, street musicians, and traditional market stalls recreated the atmosphere of Dickens' era. Visitors enjoyed period music, theatrical performances, and classical winter foods, adding to the immersive experience. The festival, inspired by Dickens' novels and his timeless themes of generosity, social justice, and community, is especially popular during the Christmas season. Families, literature lovers, and tourists fill the streets to watch parades, live readings, and reenactments of scenes from A Christmas Carol. For many visitors, the event offers a nostalgic reminder of the enduring magic of Dickens' stories and their message of kindness and hope. Shrine priests and maidens cleaned a breeze at the entrance of a UNESCO World Heritage Site in Japan's Tochigi Prefecture, north of Tokyo, in a traditional year-end ritual. The annual event was held at the Senkyo Bridge, a wooden bridge across Daya River. It serves as a symbolic entrance to the old heritage site of shrines and temples of Nikko. Priests and others at Nikko Futara-san Shrine cleaned the railing and other parts of the bridge using bamboo poles about 3 meters long with bamboo leaves attached to the top. Futara-san Shrine priest says he is pleased to have safely finished cleaning the bridge, which welcomed people from various countries in the past year. He also said he hopes everyone will have a happy new year. In Nikko, year-end cleaning will also be held at the Rinnoji Temple, a national treasure of Nikko Tosugu Shrine, and other sites to prepare for the new year. Over 5,000 grey cranes have settled in the winter fields of the Taklamakan Desert in China's Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region, adding a vibrant touch of life to the desert's outskirts. In Jinsan town of the city, approximately 4,000 hectares of recently harvested farmland have been welcoming large flocks of grey cranes. These fields, planted with corn and edible sunflowers, offer leftover grains after the harvest, serving as an ideal winter food source for the cranes. With the local winter climate being relatively warm and dry, these migratory birds, under national second-class protection, will spend the cold season here before gradually departing around March next year. At peak times, the number of wintering cranes in the city can reach up to 10,000. A town in southern Spain has once again blended tradition with culinary artistry by unveiling a Christmas nativity scene made almost entirely of chocolate, drawing crowds of holiday visitors and tourists. The elaborate display features classic nativity figures, Mary, Joseph, the baby Jesus, shepherds, and the three wise men, all sculpted from chocolate and arranged in a detailed Bethlehem setting. Crafted by skilled chocolatiers, the scene uses hundreds of kilograms of chocolate, carefully molded and painted to resemble stone, fabric, and desert landscapes. Local artisans say the chocolate nativity is not just a festive attraction but also a celebration of Spain's long-standing confectionery heritage. The installation takes weeks to design and assemble with strict temperature control to preserve the delicate figures throughout the Christmas season.
Dai Lake in Karnali province is a geographically remote district, yet rich with untapped potential for tourism. Stepping into Dai Lake, celebrated as a treasure trove of Khas art, culture and heritage, brings a unique sense of joy. Journey begins amid its natural beauty, leading us toward Mahabur Rural Municipality. As we leave the mid-hill highway, the terrain becomes challenging, with hilly, muddy roads demanding patience and skill. Long lines of vehicles crawl carefully along the cliffs, reflecting both the difficulty of the route and the enduring devotion of Mahabur Dham. Many travelers choose to continue on foot, advancing step by step toward their destination. Passing through Channa, Dasarathi, Okharbanz, Bhavsaini, Noli, and Unipata, pilgrims ascend the slopes toward Lisne before finally reaching Mahabur Patan. Pilgrims from Dai Lake and nearby districts often arrive late at night, having begun their journey the previous day. The path to Mahabur Dham is thrilling, adventurous, and breathtaking, made even more dramatic by the steady rain, drifting fog, and steep inclines. Yet the journey itself feels uniquely rewarding. Mahabur Lake or Mahabur Dham, located within Mahabur Rural Municipality, is a remarkable place of natural beauty, religious significance, and cultural heritage. Situated at an altitude of 4,200 meters, the area is adorned with emerald lakes, grazing flocks of sheep and goats, and a sky that dances with Himalayan mist. Every year, during Janai Purnima, a grand fair is held here, drawing thousands of devotees from across the region. Mahabur Dham's spiritual importance is deeply rooted in the ancient worship of Lord Shiva, revered here as the origin site. From Mahabur Lake, visitors can enjoy magnificent views of Api and Saipal Himal, and on clear days, even the plains of Bardia. Given its religious importance and natural splendor, Mahabur Dham holds immense potential as a religious tourism destination. Improving the rough, narrow access roads is essential for supporting this growth. Mahabodham is more than a pilgrimage site. It is a confluence of culture, history, faith, and nature. To truly appreciate its significance, one must visit Mahabodh Lake at least once, immerse oneself in its natural beauty, and experience the serene environment that leaves a lasting impression.
रामदी मेरो गाउँको नाम। धर्म, संस्कृति, सुन्दरता र शिक्षाको एउटा सुन्दर सम्मिश्रण पाइन्छ यहाँ, जुन अरू कतै बिरलै पाइन्छ।
My name is Parvez Salasti. I'm third kacham Padaji. I'm Parvez Pusar. I'm from Bhutan. Now I'm living in Ramli. I'm very happy to learn.
अति महत्त्वपूर्ण र पवित्र मानिने काली गण्डकी नदीको शीतल काखमा बसेको छ रामदी। स्याङ्जा र पाल्पा जिल्लाको केन्द्रमा पर्ने हुनाले रामदीबाट यी दुई जिल्लाका मनमोहक पहाडहरू र ससाना सुन्दर बस्तीहरू देख्न सकिन्छ। शालिग्राम नाम गरेको चम्किलो ढुङ्गा पाइने संसारकै एकमात्र काली गण्डकी नदीमा अंगिरा र वशिष्ठ नदीहरू मिसिदा बन्ने त्रिवेणीको विशेष महत्त्व छ। यस त्रिवेणीमा हरिबोधिनी एकादशी, शिवरात्रि र वैशाख संक्रान्तिका पावन अवसरमा लाग्ने विशेष मेलाहरूमा सामेल हुन पाइन्छ। रामदीमा काली गण्डकी नदी अद्भुत तरिकाले दक्षिणबाट उत्तर भई बहने उत्तर वाहिनी भएको हुँदा यस क्षेत्रको छुट्टै धार्मिक र आध्यात्मिक महत्त्व रहेको जानकारहरू बताउँछन्। यो क्षेत्र प्रसिद्ध ऋषिहरू वशिष्ठ, मार्कण्डेय, कपिलदेव र योगी नरहरिनाथको पवित्र तपोभूमि हो। योगी नरहरिनाथले 2042 सालमा गायत्री मन्त्रबाट विश्व शान्तिका लागि कोटी हवन गरेको यो ऐतिहासिक स्थलमा प्रसिद्ध ऋषि कपिलले सिद्धि प्राप्त गरेको सुनसिद्ध गुफाले आज पनि धार्मिक तथा रमणीय पर्यटकहरूको मन लोभ्याइरहेको छ। यस गुफाको सुरुङ साँघुरो भएकाले र अन्त्य पत्ता नलागेकाले यो थप आकर्षणको केन्द्र बनेको छ।
यहाँ एक स्टेप हुन्छ, त्यहाँ अर्को स्टेप हुन्छ, त्यहाँ तल्लो अझै अर्को ठुलो स्टेप छ। 1500 जना अट्ने ठाउँ छ तल।
रामदीमा थुप्रै पर्यटकीय स्थलहरू छन्। यहाँ रहेका गायत्री मन्दिर, राधाकृष्ण मन्दिर, शिव मन्दिर आदि धार्मिक आस्थाका केन्द्रहरू हुन्। सँगै रहेको गौशालामा केही समय टहल्दा पर्यटकहरूलाई बेग्लै आनन्दको अनुभूति हुन्छ। रामदीको प्रमुख आकर्षण त्यहाँ रहेको राम नदी आश्रम हो। यो आश्रममा आध्यात्म, संस्कार, कला, शिक्षा र नयाँ पुस्ता बीचको आनन्दमय सहकार्य देख्न सकिन्छ। संस्कृत भाषामा दखल राखेका नयाँ पुस्ताको योग भजन कीर्तन मात्र नभई अंग्रेजी भाषामा पकड राख्ने र पुराना भजनदेखि नयाँ गीतहरूको गायनले आश्रम घुम्न जाने हर कोहीलाई चकित र मन्त्रमुग्ध बनाइदिन्छ। यसरी प्रकृतिको कोख र नदीहरूको काखमा बसेको रामदीमा हर कोहीलाई आकर्षित र अचम्मित गर्ने धेरै अद्भुत कुराहरू रहेका छन्।
वीरताको चिनो, इतिहासको निशानी, राष्ट्र निर्माणको किल्ला। आधुनिक नेपालको निर्माणको लागि पुर्खाहरूले युद्ध लड्न विभिन्न क्षेत्रमा गढी र किल्ला निर्माण गरेका छन्। ती किल्लाहरू वर्तमानमा इतिहासका साक्षी हुन्। सम्भावित बाह्य आक्रमण रोक्न तथा दुश्मनहरूसँग मुकाबिला गर्न उपयुक्त स्थान रोजेर सैनिक कौशलको प्रयोग गरी गढी तथा किल्लाहरूको निर्माण गरिन्छ। नेपालमा रहेका करिब 200 गढीहरूको आआफ्नै विशेषता रहेको छ। बढी हात हतियार सहित दुश्मनका फौजहरू पराजित भएको यी महत्वपूर्ण गढीहरू अहिले इतिहासका प्रमाण बनेर बसेका छन्। इतिहासका विभिन्न कालखण्डहरूमा राजा महाराजाका शासन, हस्तक्षेप, आक्रमण, प्रत्याक्रमणमा सिन्धुली साक्षी भएर बसेको छ। यही साक्षीको प्रमाणिक दस्तावेजहरू र जनश्रुतिहरू नै सिन्धुलीको ऐतिहासिक वैभव हो। सिन्धुली जिल्लाको पश्चिमी भेग तथा हालको हरिहरपुर गढी गाउँपालिकामा पर्ने यो गढी 13औं शताब्दीमा निर्माण भएको इतिहास छ। मकवानपुर र काभ्रे पलाञ्चोक जिल्लाको सिमाना नजिक रहेको यो गढी राजधानी काठमाडौँको रक्षा कवचको रूपमा लिन सकिन्छ। मकवानपुरी सेन राजाको मूल दरबार मकवानपुरमा थियो भने सहायक दरबार अर्थात् किल्लाको रूपमा हरिहरपुर गढीलाई लिने गरिन्थ्यो। 2200 राजाको भाषामा ती दुवै कोटहरू हुन् जहाँ मकवानपुरे राजा बेला बेलामा गएर बस्दै गर्दथे।
सेन राजाको वैकल्पिक दरबार कोट हरिहरपुर गढी, हरिहरपुर कोट हो त्यो। हामी गढी भनिरहेका छौँ। यो पछि हामी राजाको अस्थायी मुकाम हुनलाई जहाँ राजा गएर अस्थायी रूपमा बस्छन् र यदि मेन राजधानी मकवानपुरमा राजदरबारमा कसैले हमला गर्यो, केही गर्यो भने वैकल्पिक कहीँ त गएर बस्नु पर्यो, फेरि लड्नु पर्यो। भनेपछि यस्तो स्थितिमा राजाहरूले ठाउँ ठाउँमा कोटहरू बनाउँछन्। सेन राजाहरूको पनि आफ्नो राज्यभित्र विभिन्न ठाउँ उनीहरूले कोट बनाउँथे, जहाँ दरबारमा गएर राजा 4 दिन बस्थे, 4 वर्ष बस्थे, 4 महिना बस्थे। भन्दा यो हरिहर इन्द्रसेन राजाले बनाएको यो चाहिँ अर्को एउटा वैकल्पिक मुकाम थियो राजा बस्ने। र पछि नेपाल एकीकरणको युद्धमा पृथ्वीनारायण शाहले 1819 विक्रम सम्वतमा मकवानपुरको दरबारमा हमला गरिसकेपछि अन्तिम राजा पृथ्वीनारायण शाहका जेठान दिग्बन्धन सेन, उनका मन्त्री कनकनीति बानिया, यी लगायत उनका श्रीमतीहरू अब गोर्खालीले हमला गर्छ भन्ने कुरा उनीहरू थाहा थियो। अनि राजाका अब रानीहरू, छोरीहरू, महिला, केटाकेटीलाई पहिला नै हरिहरपुर गढी पठाइसकेका थियो, हरिहरपुर दरबार कोटमा पठाइसकेका थियो।
हरिहरपुर गढी वरिपरि सेना बस्ने ब्यारेक, देवी देवताका साना ठूला मन्दिरहरू र अलि तलतिर बाक्लै बस्तीहरू थिए भन्ने इतिहास सुन्न पाइन्छ। एक थरीको इतिहास अनुसार राजाहरू लोहङ सेन, राघव सेन, हरिहर इन्द्र सेनले यो कोट बनाए। उनकै नामबाट हरिहरपुर कोट नाम राखिएको थियो भन्ने समेत सुन्न पाइन्छ। अर्का थरी अनुसार सोही समयमा सिम्रोनगढका राजा हरि सिंहदेव थिए। उनले यो गढी निर्माण गर्न लगाएकोले यो गढीको नाम हरिहरपुर गढी रहन गएको भन्ने भनाइरहेको छ। तत्कालीन सिम्रोनगढ राज्यका कला, संस्कृति तथा अन्य भौतिक सम्पन्नताले निकै वैभवशाली भएको पाइन्छ। विक्रम सम्वत 1381 मा सिम्रोनगढका राजा हरि सिंहदेव थिए। यी राजा ठाकुर वंशका थिए। विक्रम सम्वत 1381 मा दिल्लीका मुसलमान गयासुद्दीन तुगलकले यस सिम्रौनगढ राज्यमा भीषण आक्रमण गरेको थियो। आक्रमणमा राज्य ध्वस्त बनाइएपछि राजा हरिसिंह देव आफ्नी रानी देवल देवी तथा राजकुमार र विद्वान मन्त्री चण्डेश्वर सहित भागेर नजिकैको पहाडमा लुकेर बसेको र आफ्नो राज्य जोगाउन सफल भएको इतिहास सुन्न पाइन्छ। सिन्धुली जिल्लाको 3 पाटन भन्ने स्थानमा हरिसिंह देवको मृत्यु भएको कुरा इतिहासकारहरू बताउँछन्। इतिहासकार लुजियानो पेटेकले हरिसिंह देवको मृत्यु टीपाट भन्ने स्थानमा पुगेर भएको भनेका छन्। यो टीपाट भन्ने स्थान नै हालको 3 पाटन हो। राजा हरिसिंह देवले सुरक्षित रहन बनाएको भएर यो किल्लालाई हरिसिंहपुर गढीको नामले चिनिन गएको एक थरीको भनाइ रहिआएको छ। राजा हरिसिंह देवले मन्त्री चण्डेश्वरको सल्लाह बमोजिम त्यही स्थानमा सानो किल्ला बनाई रहन थाले। पछि सिम्रौनगढका विद्वानहरू, साधुहरू, कलाकारहरू, कालीगढहरू पनि हरिसिंह देव भएकै ठाउँमा रहन थाल्नाले हरिसिंह देवले स्थापना गरेको त्यो सानो किल्ला एउटा राज्यको रूप लिने अवस्थामा पुग्यो। पछि यो किल्लालाई राजा हरिसिंह देवकै नामबाट हरिहरपुर गढी भनेर चिनिन थालिएको हो। पछि पश्चिम नेपाल तर्फबाट मुकुन्द सेन नाम गरेको योद्धाले ठूलो फौजको नेतृत्व गरेर हरिहरपुर गढी कब्जा गरेका थिए। पछि ती मुकुन्द सेनले आफ्नै नामबाट राजधानी मुकुन्दपुर बनाए शासन सञ्चालन गर्न थाले। तत्कालीन मुकुन्दपुर राज्यको नामबाट नै हालको मकवानपुर नाम रहन गएको हो।
अब यो कसले बनायो भन्ने कुरामा दुईटा कुराहरू छ। एउटा चाहिँ सिम्रौनगढका राजा कर्णाट वंशी राजा हरिहर सिंह देवले बनाएको हो भन्छन्। अब यो यदि हरिहर सिंह देवले बनाएको हो भने यसको यो गढीको उमेर चाहिँ चान्चुन 650 वर्ष जति भयो र त्यसो नहुँदाखेरि यो मकवानपुर राज्यका राजा हरिहर सेनले बनाएको हो भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ हरिहर सेनले बनाएको गढी चाहिँ बढ्दा चाहिँ त्यो ऊ देखिन्छ, प्रमाणित देखिन्छ। किनभने तपाईँले मकवानपुर गढीको रूप त्यसपछि तपाईँले चाहिँ यो हरिहरपुर गढीको रूप हेर्नुभयो भनेदेखि यो चाहिँ अलमोस्ट एउटै छ। भनेपछि मकवानपुर त हरिहर सेन राजाको हो, हरिहरपुर गढीमा पनि त्यस्तै किसिमको गढी बन्नुको मतलब चाहिँ के छ भने यो एउटै राजाले निर्माण एउटै राजाको पालामा एउटै कालीगढीले बनाएको हो भन्ने कुरो चाहिँ प्रमाणित हुन्छ। त्यसो हुनाले हामी चाहिँ हरिहर सेनले बनाएको भन्ने मान्छौँ। हरिहरपुर गढी एकदम कलात्मक छ किनभने गढीको दुईटा विशेषता हुन्छ। एउटा रम्पार्ट हुन्छ, एउटा मोट भन्छ क्या, दुईटा अङ्ग्रेजी हुन्। रम्पार्ट भनेको चाहिँ गढीबाट माथिबाट शत्रुहरूको गतिविधि हेर्ने रम्पार्ट भयो। अब मोट चाहिँ कस्तो हुन्छ भनेदेखि शत्रुहरूलाई चाहिँ सर्टेन ठाउँभित्र आउन नदिनको लागि चाहिँ खाल्टो खनिन्छ वरिपरि है। त्यो दुई खाले गढी हुन्छ। यो हरिहरपुर गढी चाहिँ तपाईँलाई दुईटै छ, यो रम्पार्ट पनि हो र यो मोट पनि हो। यो चारैतिर पोलिगोनमा धेरैवटा चाहिँ भुजा भएको जस्तो चाहिँ एउटा ठुलो स्पेस छ। त्यो स्पेसको चाहिँ साइडमा चाहिँ मोटहरू भनेको खाडीहरू खनिएको छ र त्यो खाडीमा अहिले तपाईँले हेर्नुभयो भनेदेखि त्यो खाडीमा पानी भरिदिइसकेपछि र त्यो खाडीको बिचको पुल हटाइदिइसकेपछि शत्रुहरू चाहिँ मेन त्यो गर्भगृहमा चाहिँ त्यो मेन चाहिँ ठाउँमा चाहिँ त्यो अलि रणनीतिक हिसाबले महत्त्वपूर्ण ठाउँमा चाहिँ त्यो आउन नसक्ने गरी बनाएको छ।
नेपाल एकीकरणका अभियानमा राजा पृथ्वीनारायण शाहले सिन्धुली गढी सँगसँगै हरिहरपुर गढीमा 300 बढी गोर्खा फौजलाई तैनात गरिएको समेत इतिहास रहिआएको छ। गोर्खाली राजा पृथ्वीनारायण शाहको नेतृत्व र उपस्थितिमा विक्रम सम्वत 1819 पुस 22 गते भएको एकीकरण लडाईँमा यो गढी तत्कालीन गोर्खा राज्यमा एकीकृत भयो। यसै गरी चितवनको परेवा कोट गढीमा पनि नेपाली सेनाको अर्को टोलीले हमला गरी विजय हासिल गरेको थियो। सन् 1767 मा काठमाडौँमा लडाईँ गर्न आएको ब्रिटिस सेनालाई तत्कालीन गोर्खाली सेनाले सिन्धुली गढीमा परास्त गरेर भारत तर्फ फर्काएको थियो। गोर्खाली सेना र ब्रिटिस सेना बीच भएको त्यो लडाईँ गोर्खाली सेनाको विजयको रूपमा स्थापित हुन पुग्यो।
राति चाहिँ यो एक खालको ह्युमिलेसन हो, यो एक खालको चाहिँ यो चाहिँ अपमान गरेको हो। तपाईँलाई दरबारमै दिनुपर्छ, यो सहायक दरबारमा यति पर ल्याएर यो हरिहरपुर गढीमा राख्नुको मतलब चाहिँ तपाईँमाथि अपमान हो भनिसकेपछि पृथ्वीनारायण शाह चाहिँ त्यहीँबाट चाहिँ एकदम चाहिँ उनीहरूको कुरा सुनिसकेपछि त्यहीँबाट रिसाएर निस्किए होइन। निस्किएपछि वास्तवमा उनमा चाहिँ त्यो अब म यो मकवानपुर राज्यलाई पनि मैले कुनै पनि बेला मैले एकीकरणमा म यसलाई चाहिँ म आफ्नै गोर्खाभित्रै म मिसाउँछु भन्ने उनले अठोट गरे। तर त्यतिखेर बडा भद्र राजा हुनुहुन्थ्यो, उहाँको ससुरा हेमकर्णसेन हुनुहुन्थ्यो होइन। अब हेमकर्णसेन हुँदै त उहाँले केही गर्न सक्नु भएन, तर पछाडि दिग्बन्धन सेन राजा भइसकेपछि विक्रम सम्वत 1819 मा चाहिँ त्यो मकवानपुर राज्य चाहिँ एकीकरण भयो, गोर्खामा एकीकरण भयो। र गोर्खामा पनि एकीकरण हुँदा पनि अहिले तपाईँले जहाँ छायाङ्कन गर्न गइरहनु भएको छ त्यो हरिहरपुर गढीको एकदम ठुलो भूमिका छ। त्यहाँबाट मकवानपुर राज्यबाट भागेर तत्कालीन राजा र भनौँ न दिग्बन्धन सेन र मन्त्री कनकसिंह बानिया चाहिँ भागेर हरिहरपुर गढीमा लुकेर बसेका थिए। त्यो हरिहरपुर गढीमा पनि गोर्खाले राइड गरिसक्यो, गोर्खालीहरूले चाहिँ त्यहाँ पनि चाहिँ युद्ध गरिसक्यो। उनीहरू भागेर उनीहरू चाहिँ नजिकैको अवध राज्यतिर मीर कासिमसँग चाहिँ सहयोग माग्न जानुभएको थियो त्यतिखेर। भनेपछि नेपाल एकीकरण सन्दर्भमा पनि त्यो अन्तिम पटकको लडाइँ भएको ठाउँ चाहिँ त्यो हाम्रो मकवानपुर राज्यलाई जोड्ने क्रममा चाहिँ अन्तिम पटक भएको ठाउँ पनि हाम्रो हरिहरपुर गढी नै हो।
एकीकरण गर्दै अगाडि बढिरहेको गोर्खाली शक्ति विरुद्ध कान्तिपुरका राजा जयप्रकाश मल्ल विदेशी शक्तिको खोजीमा थिए। उनले बेतियामा रहेका ब्रिटिश काउन्सिलर ग्लाडिङलाई ब्रिटिश ईस्ट इन्डिया कम्पनी सरकारबाट आपतकालीन सहायताको लागि आग्रह गरे। गोर्खाली राजा पृथ्वी नारायण शाहले नेपालको आन्तरिक मामिला भएको र यसमा बाह्य हस्तक्षेप नगर्न चिठी लेखे, तर कम्पनी तर्फको सरकारले पृथ्वी नारायणको आग्रहलाई अस्वीकार गर्दै कप्तान जर्ज किनलकको नेतृत्वमा 2400 सेना तथा सहयोगी समूहका साथ नेपाल आक्रमणको लागि ब्रिटिश ईस्ट इन्डिया कम्पनी सरकारले खटाएको भनाई इतिहासमा भेटिन्छ। किनलक पटनाबाट 17 अगस्त 1967 मा हिँडे, तर जब उनीहरू ढुङ्ग्रे बासबाट सिन्धुली गढीको लागि अघि बढ्दै थिए, नेपाली सैन्य टोलीहरूले अगाडि र पछाडि दुवैतिरबाट आकस्मिक आक्रमण गरे। किनलकका थुप्रै सेना मारिन पुगे। पछि 1600 जति घाइते सेना लिएर जनकपुरतिर फर्के र उनले अर्को आक्रमण बागमती नदीको किनार गर्ने योजना बनाए र निशान हरिहरपुर गढीलाई बनाउने निधो गरे। उनका 700 सेना घाइते थिए, तर पनि उनको दोस्रो सैनिक अभियान 20 सेप्टेम्बर सन् 1767 मा हरिहरपुर गढीका लागि सुरु भयो।
अब यो सिन्धुली गढी चाहिँ आजभन्दा 256 वर्ष अगाडि को यो इतिहास हो। यसमा चाहिँ इस्ट इन्डिया कम्पनीले चाहिँ जयप्रकाश मल्ललाई, काठमाडौँको राजा जयप्रकाश मल्ललाई मद्दतको रूपमा चाहिँ आएको थियो। त्यो बेला चाहिँ पृथ्वीनारायण शाहको चाहिँ युनिफिकेसन क्याम्पेन चलिरहेको थियो। जयप्रकाश मल्ल डराएर इस्ट इन्डिया कम्पनीसँग टुस माग्यो। त्यो बेला यो ठाउँमा लडाइँ लड्दाखेरि चाहिँ पृथ्वीनारायण शाहको ले पठाउनु भएको वंश गुरुङ, वंशराज पाण्डे, श्रीभद्र उपाध्याय त्यति बेलाका कमान्डरहरू थिए। त्यो बेला 500 चान्चुन गोर्खाली फौजले 3500 4000 इस्ट इन्डिया कम्पनीको फौजले चाहिँ हराएको ठाउँ हो यो। यद्यपि त्यो समयमा इस्ट इन्डिया कम्पनी काठमाडौँ छिरेको भए आज नेपाल रहन्थ्यो रहन्थेन भन्ने कुरामा पनि प्रश्न चिन्ह रहन्छ। त्यसकारण यो गढीको चाहिँ आफ्नो इतिहास छ र त्यो बेलामा वंशराज पाण्डे मेन कमान्डर, उनले यो सबै यो ठाउँमा चाहिँ नि एउटा फल्स फ्रन्ट्रेज बनाएर यहाँ जस्तो जनावरहरूमा गाई गोरु भेडा सबैमा चाहिँ नि यो सिङहरूमा होइन ढुङ्ग्रो बालेर एउटा फल्स फ्रन्ट्रेज बनाएर देखाएको थियो। यद्यपि त्यो बेला तत्कालीन गोर्खाली फौजमा 500 चान्चुन मात्र ट्रुप्स थियो। अब त्यो बेला चाहिँ नि तिनीहरूलाई यही यो पौवागढीबाट आक्रमण गरेर उनीहरूलाई परास्त गरे, हराए। त्यो बेला क्याप्टेन किनलोक चाहिँ नि घाइते भयो, अरिङ्गालले टोकेर भने अरू कप्तानहरू चाहिँ अन द स्पटै डेड भएको थियो। अनि त्यसलाई चाहिँ बनारसमा गएर क्याप्टेन किनलोक चाहिँ मरे भन्ने छ। उसले पनि आफ्नो क्याप्टेन किनलोकले लेखेको इतिहासहरू पनि, उसले लेखेको इतिहास पनि अब हाम्रै थम्बेलतिर पनि त्यो किताबहरू पनि पढ्न पाइन्छ। भनेपछि यो गढीको धेरै महत्त्व छ र यद्यपि यो गढीमा गोर्खाली सेनाले हारेको भए नेपाल रहन्थेन भन्ने चाहिँ प्रश्न चिन्ह रहेछ। त्यसको महत्त्व छ।
पृथ्वीनारायण शाहले हरिहरपुर गढीको सुरक्षाको लागि रामकृष्ण कुँवरलाई तैनात गरेका थिए। जब किनलक गोर्खाली फौज नभएको बेला हरिहरपुर गढीमा पाइला टेक्न पुगे, त्यतिखेर किनलकले हरिहरपुर गढी किल्ला डाँडाको टुप्पोमा भएको र राम्रा इँटहरूले बनेको पाएका थिए। त्यो गढीको कुना कुनामा ढुङ्गा हाल्नको लागि ठाउँ बनाइएको थियो। गढीको बीचमा ठुलो इँटको दरबार थियो, जसलाई उनले मकवानी राजाले आफू बस्नको लागि बनाएको होला भने अनुमान गरेका थिए। दरबार नजिकै भीमसेनको मन्दिर थियो र छेउमै हस्ती हाडले बनेको खम्बामा विभत्स रूपले सर्पको टाउको कुँदेको देखेका थिए। यति धेरै वास्तुकलाहरूले सुसज्जित हरिहरपुर गढीमा आज भग्नावशेष बाहेक अन्य चीजहरू छैनन्। हरिहरपुर गढीमा गोर्खाली फौज तैनाथ थिएनन्। रामकृष्ण कुँवरको नेतृत्वको गोर्खाली सेना हरिहरपुर गढी भन्दा उत्तरतिरको डाँडामा रहेका थिए। त्यस डाँडामा कम्पनीका सैनिक पुग्ने प्रयास गरे पनि सफल भएनन्। सिन्धुलीको लडाईँबाट हारेर भागेका अंग्रेज क्याप्टेन किनलकको फौज पुनर्गठन भई बागमतीबाट यो गढी हुँदै काठमाडौँ अर्थात् कान्तिपुरतिर बढ्दै गर्दा यही क्षेत्रमा फेरि पनि नेपाली सेनाले हमला गरी हराएको थियो। अंग्रेज फौजको अगाडिको टोली यो गढी भन्दा करिब 2 किलोमिटर उत्तरसम्म पुगेकोमा नेपाली सेना र त्यहाँका जनताले समेत ती अंग्रेजलाई काटेर भगाएको समेत इतिहासमा उल्लेख भएको पाइन्छ। सोही कारणले सो ठाउँलाई जितपुर नाम राखियो। अंग्रेज विरुद्ध लडाईँ जितेको ठाउँको रूपमा परिचित उक्त स्थानमा विजय स्मारक समेत बनाइएको छ। त्यसपछि किनलक कान्तिपुर अभियानलाई त्याग्न बाध्य भए र उनी फर्किएको भनाई विभिन्न लेखहरूमा समेत भेट्न सकिन्छ।
मकवानपुरको राजा पनि भाग्ने कुरा त आएन, त्यहाँ ठुलो लडाईँ हुन्छ। पृथ्वीनारायण शाह आफ्नै जेठान त्यहाँ हारिसकेपछि दिग्बन्धन सिंह राजा, उनका मन्त्री फेरि र सेना त्यहाँबाट भागेर कहाँ गए त? हरिहरपुर कोटमा गए, जुन हामी गढी भनिरहेका छौँ। त्यहाँ 4-5 महिना बसिसकेपछि मात्रै अनि पृथ्वीनारायण शाहले फेरि यताबाट तपाईँको यो धुलीखेलपट्टिबाट यो चाहिँ यो तिमालकोट, कोट तिमाल भन्ने तपाईँले सुन्नु भएको छ। तिमालकोट, कोट तिमाल, हामी भकुण्डेबेसीबाट पूर्वतिर लाग्यौँ भने एउटा बाटो जान्छ, त्यसलाई तिमालकोट पनि भन्छ, कोट तिमाल भन्छ। त्यहाँ ठुलो लडाईँ हुन्छ, त्यहाँ धेरै 1 महिना लडाईँ हुन्छ त्यो जित्नलाई। त्यसपछि सिन्धुली गढीमा लडाईँ हुन्छ हाम्रो 2 चोटि। आज सिन्धुली गढीकोमा जित्छ, 3 दिनपछि फेरि उसको सेनाले फेरि हराउँछ गोर्खाले। पृथ्वीनारायण शाह आफै लड्छन् त्यसपछि आएर, 3 दिनपछि आएर त्यो सिन्धुली गढी जिते। त्यसको 2 दिनपछि त्यहाँबाट हरिहरपुर गढी दरबार पुग्छन् उनी कोटमा। पृथ्वीनारायण शाह आफू अगाडि बसेर हरिहरपुरमा ठुलो लडाईँ हुन्छ र हरिहरपुरको लडाईँमा अब हार्यो, फेरि मकवानपुर सेना हार्यो, राजा भागे, खोडाघाटपट्टि भागे।
किनलक सहितको फौजलाई खाद्यान्नको जिम्मा लिएका जनकपुरका दानदेव चौधरीले समेत गोर्खाली फौजलाई साथ दिएपछि बिरामी परेका किनलक पटना फर्के र उतै देहत्याग गरेको इतिहास रहिआएको छ। यो हरिहरपुर गढीमा मकवानपुरका युवराजसँग खटपट भएको करिब 23 वर्षपछि सोही स्थानमा नै विशाल मकवानपुर राज्यले गोर्खा फौजसँग हार खायो। यसरी नेपालको एकीकरणको अभियानलाई सिन्धुलीको हरिहरपुर गढी क्षेत्रले ठूलो योगदान गरेको इतिहास अझै जीवित रहेको छ। नेपाल अंग्रेज युद्धको दोस्रो चरणमा मेजर जनरल डेभिड अक्टरलोनीको डिभिजनले हरिहरपुर गढी र मकवानपुर दरबार क्षेत्र 2 ठाउँबाट हमला गर्न अगाडि बढेकोमा यो गढीमा पहिला लडाईँ सुरु भएको थियो। अंग्रेज कर्णेलहरू कर्णेल केली र कर्णेल होलले 16 फेब्रुअरी सन् 1915 मा 2 तिरबाट यो गढीमा हमला गर्दा नेपाली सेनाको हार भयो। यो लडाईँ नेपालीले हार्ना साथ नेपालले सुगौली सन्धि गर्न प्रस्ताव पठायो र 2 डिसेम्बर सन् 1816 मा सुगौली सन्धि भयो। त्यसपछि नेपाल अंग्रेज युद्ध अन्त भएको थियो। नेपाल अंग्रेज युद्धको यो अन्तिम लडाईँ समेत थियो। तोप प्रहारको उद्देश्य राखी तयार पारिएको गढीको मध्यभागमा दरबार रहेको छ। आपतकालीन अवस्थाको लागि पानी सञ्चित गर्न बनाइएको ट्याङ्की समेत प्रष्टै देख्न सकिन्छ।
त्यहाँ चाहिँ ठुल्ठुला ढुङ्गाका चाहिँ शिलाहरू कुदेर, हैन, त्यो ढुङ्गा तपाईँ यत्रतत्र तपाईँले पाउनुहुन्न। त्यहाँ चाहिँ हजारको संख्यामा त्यस्ता ढुङ्गाहरू छन्। त्यो ढुङ्गालाई चाहिँ कुदेर मिलाएर एकदम राम्रोसँग पर्खाल बनाएको छ। अत्यन्त प्रोटेक्टिभ वाल त्यहाँको तपाईँले हेर्नुभयो भनेदेखि त्यो चाहिँ एकदम त्यो अहिले पनि मलाई अहिलेको मिलिटरी चान्चुने मिलिटरी आक्रमणबाट पनि त्यो केही हुनेवाला छैन, त्यस्तो किसिमको छ। र खास गरी अब त्यहाँ चाहिँ सिन्धुली गढीमा चाहिँ यो जब इस्ट इन्डिया कम्पनीको सेना हारिसकेपछि क्याप्टेन किनलोकले हरिहरपुर गढीबाट चाहिँ काठमाडौँतिर जान्छु भनेर हरिहरपुर गढीतिर गए। त्यसपछि हाम्रो चाहिँ जङ्गबहादुरको चाहिँ जिजु हजुरबाको पनि हजुरबा चाहिँ रामकृष्ण कुँवरको तैनाथीमा चाहिँ 300-400 गोर्खाली फौजहरू लगेर त्यहाँ एउटा चाहिँ जितपुर भन्ने ठाउँ छ, जितपुरको डाँडामा चाहिँ राखिसकेका थिए। क्याप्टेन किनलोक चाहिँ काठमाडौँ पस्नको लागि हरिहरपुर गढीमा रात बिताए। त्यतिखेर उनी धेरै बिरामी भइसकेका थिए। हरिहरपुर गढीमै फेरि त्यहाँ एउटा शक्ति छ। हरिहरपुर गढीमै पनि त्यो ईस्ट इन्डिया कम्पनीका सेनाहरू बीच चाहिँ विद्रोह भयो। विद्रोह भयो, आफू बिरामी पनि भयो, यता सेनाको नि विद्रोह भइसकेपछि उनले अनि काठमाडौँ जानको लागि बाटोमा रामकृष्ण कुँवरको नेतृत्वमा गोर्खाली फौज पनि भइसकेपछि उनी हतोत्साही भइसकेपछि त्यहाँबाट उनले चाहिँ के गरे, काठमाडौँ जानलाई चाहिँ उनले चाहिँ त्यहाँबाट छोडे, काठमाडौँ जान सकेनन्। त्यसरी फर्किएर आए र त्यो फर्किएर आएको हरिहरपुर गढीबाट जब त्यो क्याप्टेन इस्ट इन्डिया कम्पनीको सेना फर्कियो, त्यो फर्किँदा फेरि तर त्यतिखेर ढिलो चाँडो चाहिँ ब्रिटिस इस्ट इन्डिया कम्पनी चाहिँ हारेको कुरो अमेरिकी स्वतन्त्रता सङ्ग्राममा पनि त्यो कुरो चाहिँ रिफ्लेक्ट भयो।
गढी प्रवेशद्वारमा अहिले काठको पुल जस्तो भए पनि गढी सञ्चालनको बेला यसमा फलामको ढोका रहेको थियो। ढोका खुल्दा सोही ढोका नै पुल बनेर आवत जावत गर्न सकिन्थ्यो भने ढोका बन्द हुँदा सो बाटो बन्द हुन्थ्यो र आवत जावत गर्न सकिँदैन थियो। मकवानपुरको राजाको वैकल्पिक गढीको रूपमा चिनिने हरिहरपुर गढी किल्ला संरक्षणमा राज्यले समेत चासो देखाएको छ। हरिहरपुर गढी नेपाल र नेपालीका लागि गौरव र प्रतिष्ठाको धुरी हो। दुश्मनले पाइला टेक्न खोज्दा गोर्खाली सेनाले शिर छेदन गरी विजय प्राप्त गरेको इतिहास अझै जीवित नै छ। रणनीतिक महत्व बोकेका यी गढी अनि ऐतिहासिक सैन्य धरोहरमा त्यतिखेर कोरेर बनाइएका ढुङ्गाहरू, मूर्तिहरू देख्न सकिन्छ। पुरातात्विक महत्व बोकेको यो गढीको करिब 80% भाग सुरक्षित रहेको देख्न सकिन्छ।
गढी देख्ने बित्तिकै कुनै पनि मान्छेले नेपालको राजनीति, नेपालको सामाजिक एकीकरणका कुराहरूलाई त्यो आफूलाई त्यति रुचि नराख्ने मान्छे पनि यदि त्यो ठाउँमा गएर त्यो स्ट्रक्चर देख्यो भनेदेखि उसले चाहिँ एकपल्ट आफूलाई रिकल गर्छ। मेरो पुर्खाहरूले बिना सित्तीमा, बिना चाहिँ त्यो स्वार्थमा राष्ट्रको लागि यसरी गरेका रहेछन्। राष्ट्रसँग त, राज्यसँग त त्यतिखेर पनि चुनौती त रहेछ। त्यो चुनौती चाहिँ कुनै अलौकिक शक्तिले, कुनै विदेशी शक्तिले चाहिँ त्यो सामना गर्दैन। त्यो सामना गर्नुपर्ने चाहिँ त्यही व्यक्ति नै रहेछ, त्यही देशको सब्जेक्ट नै रहेछ, त्यही देशको जनता नै रहेछ भनेपछि मेरो पुर्खाले पनि यति कुरो चाहिँ, हाम्रो पुर्खाले पनि यति कुरा यत्रो चाहिँ स्ट्रक्चर बनाउन सक्दा रहेछन् भने हाम्रो योगदान त केही पनि रहन्छ अहिले राष्ट्रको लागि, राष्ट्र निर्माणको लागि भन्ने कुरो चाहिँ उसले त्यो फिलिङ गर्छ। अलिकति त्यहाँ जाने बित्तिकै उसको नेसनलिस्टिक फरवर्ड भन्छ नि, त्यो खालको चाहिँ उसलाई त्यो आउँछ। त्यो अहिले पनि आउँछ।
पाल्पाली राजा मुकुन्द सेनका छोराहरूले राज्य बाँडफाँड गर्दा छोरा लोहङ सेनले नारायणी पूर्वतर्फ राज्य बढाउँदै गएको र पछि त्यही क्षेत्रको राजा भएको इतिहास समेत रहिआएको छ। लोहङ सेनका नाति भनिने हरिहर इन्द्रसेनको नामबाट यो गढी बनाइएको हो भन्ने इतिहास समेत सुन्न पाइन्छ। यो हरिहरपुर गढीबाट राजधानी काठमाडौँ जोड्ने 2वटा बाटो रहेका छन्। काठमाडौँ जोड्ने सबैभन्दा छोटो बाटोको रूपमा यस गढीलाई लिन सकिन्छ। सेन राजाको पालामा यो गढी हुँदै चिसा पानीतर्फ गयो भने काठमाडौँको थानकोटतिर पुगिन्थ्यो भने अर्को बाटो बागमती किनार हुँदै गयो भने काठमाडौँ छोटो दूरीमा पुगिन्थ्यो। भारतबाट कान्तिपुर जोड्ने छोटो बाटोको रूपमा समेत यसलाई लिइन्थ्यो। 1819 सालमा मकवानपुरको राज्यमाथि राजा पृथ्वीनारायण शाहको नेतृत्वको फौजबाट हमला भएको इतिहासमा देख्न सकिन्छ। गोर्खाली फौजहरू हमलाबाट दिग्बन्धन सेनको हार भएको थियो। गढी संरक्षण एवं सम्वर्धनमा हरिहरपुर गढी गाउँपालिकाले पनि ध्यान दिएको पाइन्छ। सोही गढीको नामबाट नामाकरण गरिएको गाउँपालिकाले रणनीतिक इतिहास बोकेको यो किल्ला संरक्षणमा विभिन्न कार्यक्रमहरू सञ्चालन गरेको छ। यो गढीमा गाउँपालिका स्तरीय कार्यक्रम सञ्चालन गर्नुका साथै गढीको भग्नावशेष जोगाउन पूर्वाधार कार्यक्रमहरू समेत राख्दै आइरहेको छ।
यो हरिहरपुर गढी किल्ला जुन छ त्यो 2200-2400 राज्यको पालामा एउटा किल्लाको रूपमा एउटा राजा हरिहर सेन भन्ने राजाले चाहिँ शासन गरेको अवस्था रहेछ र यो किल्लाले पछि अङ्ग्रेजहरूसँग चाहिँ लड्ने क्रममा यो किल्लाले महत्त्वपूर्ण भूमिका खेलेको रहेछ। यो सिन्धुली गढीसँगको लडाइँ पछाडि अङ्ग्रेजको क्याप्टेन किन्लकको ग्रुपले फेरि यहाँ आक्रमण गरेको रहेछ। त्यो आक्रमणलाई पनि यहाँबाट विफल बनाएर पठाएको जुन विजय किल्ला भन्ने छ, त्यो विजय किल्ला चाहिँ हरिहरपुरको विजय किल्ला चाहिँ हरिहरपुरबाट प्रवेश गरिसकेपछि विजय किल्लाबाट 1 किलोमिटर माथिको चाहिँ महाभारत रेन्जमा पुगिसके पछाडि त्यहाँबाट चाहिँ धपाउन हाम्रो नेपाली सेनाहरू, गोर्खाली सेनाहरू सफल भएको। पहिलो त हरिहरपुर 2200 राज्य हुँदा एउटा राज्य थियो। पछि चाहिँ एकीकृत भइसके पछाडि पनि अङ्ग्रेजहरूसँग लडाइँ लड्दाखेरि यो विजय प्राप्त गरेको किल्लाको रूपमा यहाँ चिनारी सुनिन्छ। विशेष गरी किल्ला हो, त्यो किल्ला चाहिँ पुरानो शासकहरूले राम्रो ठाउँमा बनाएको रहेछ। मानिलिउँ भौगोलिक रूपले चाहिँ हामीले मकानपुरलाई तलतिर मधेसको फाँटलाई र मास्तिर हिमाली महाभारतको रेन्ज हिमालको टुप्पो देख्न सकिन्छ। जताततै चारैतिर पूर्व मेचीदेखि पश्चिम महाकाली उत्तर दक्षिण पूर्व पश्चिम सबै क्षेत्रमा हेर्ने एउटा टापुको रूपमा रहेछ। त्यो चाहिँ सुरक्षित स्थान हो जहाँ वैरीहरूले आक्रमण गर्न नसकिने ठाउँ हो त्यो। त्यसैले त्यो रमणीय ठाउँ छ। त्यो रमणीय ठाउँलाई हामीले संरक्षण र सम्वर्धन गरिराख्यो भने पर्यटकीय क्षेत्रको लागि धेरै ठुलो कुरा हो। यो हरिहरपुरको गौरवको स्थल हो त्यो।
काठमाडौँबाट हेटौडा पुगेपछि हेटौडा हुँदै मदन भण्डारी पथमा करिब 55 किलोमिटरको यात्रापछि गढी प्रवेश गर्ने सहायक बाटो भेटिन्छ। यस्तै काठमाडौँबाट सिन्धुली गढी पुगेपछि सोही मदन भण्डारी पथबाट करिब 60 किलोमिटरको यात्रापछि गढी जाने बाटोमा पुग्न सकिन्छ। त्यसपछि करिब 8 किलोमिटरको दूरीमा यो हरिहरपुर गढी पर्दछ। महाभारत पर्वत श्रृङ्खला सँगै रहेको यो गढी वरिपरि घना वन जंगलले घेरिएको छ भने दक्षिणपट्टि चुरे क्षेत्र तथा मानव बस्ती लगायत कृषि योग्य फाँटहरू रहेका छन्। हरिहरपुर घुम्ने आन्तरिक तथा बाह्य पर्यटकहरूले हरिहरपुर गढीसँगै हरिहरपुर गढीका सुनौला फाँटहरू समेत निहाल्न सक्नेछन्। यसै गरी धार्मिक तथा ऐतिहासिक स्थलहरूमा लोहा सुर मन्दिर, त्यही मन्दिर छेउमा रहेको प्राकृतिक पोखरीका साथै केही समयको यात्रापछि क्यान खोला तथा क्यान दहको समेत अवलोकन गर्न सकिन्छ। हाम्रा वीर पुर्खाहरूको रगत, पसिना र अथक मेहनतबाट आर्जेको यो मुलुकको इतिहासलाई हामीले संरक्षण एवं सम्वर्धन गर्नु आवश्यक छ। यस्ता ऐतिहासिक तथा पुरातात्विक गढीहरूको संरक्षणले नयाँ पुस्तालाई विगतको बारे जानकारी पाउने अवसर दिनुका साथै पर्यटनमा पनि महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका निर्वाह गर्दछ। सभ्यताको उषा कालदेखि नै सुविख्यात नेपालीपन जीवन्त साक्षी यस्ता पुरातात्विक धरोहरको संरक्षण गर्दै भावी पुस्तालाई हस्तान्तरण गर्नु हामी सबैको दायित्व हो।
In the natural splendor, the silver-like peaks or the Himalayas glisten. Cradling a pond filled with milk in its lap, the Numbur Himal gleams. The Dudkunda, meaning a milk pond in Nepal's northeastern district of Solukhumbu, is truly the gateway to the paradise. The Numbur, Khatang and Karyalung mountains seem to smile at all times. Adorned with a garland of colorful flowers, the Dudkunda is overflowing as if filled with milk. The very sight defines nature at its best. Feels as if the Numbur mountain is giving motherly affection, holding the lake in its lap. The beauty is so serene and virgin that one fears not to stain it by touching. Indeed, Dudkunda is nature at its purest form. Located at Solu Dudkunda municipality, Taksindu, the natural paradise draws many visitors. No matter how many words are spent describing it, they all feel inadequate upon reaching there. The name itself is fulfilling and equally sacred.
हजारौं नरनारीहरू चाहिँ तीर्थयात्रीहरू दुधकुण्डमा जानुभएको छ। म पनि पुगिरहेँ। दुधकुण्ड असाध्यै पवित्र स्थल, यो हिमाल काखमा रहेको तीर्थस्थल हो, पुण्यस्थल हो, देवस्थल हो। र त्यहाँ चाहिँ एकचोटि पुग्नै पर्दो रहेछ। त्यहाँ पुगेर जुन आनन्दको अनुभूति हुन्छ त्यो चाहिँ कहीँ पनि पाइँदैन भन्ने चाहिँ महसुस भयो।
आनन्द लाग्यो, मस्त लाग्यो। अनि यो ठाउँमा चाहिँ आएर तपस्या गरेर बस्नु जस्तो लाग्यो मलाई।
एकदमै राम्रो लाग्यो होइन, प्रकृतिले दिएको रमणीय तीर्थस्थल होइन, जो कोही पनि एकचोटि चाहिँ यहाँ आएर एकचोटि भ्रमण गरेर दर्शन गर्नुपर्छ जस्तो लाग्यो।
Situated at an altitude of 4,531 meters above the sea level, Dudkunda is a sacred pilgrimage site of culture and nature. It feels like nature has blessed this place, and culturally, it has bound all castes and ethnicities in a thread of unity. There are various legends and sayings about Dudkunda. One argument is that the pond was formed during the creation of the Himalayas and was discovered by local sheep and yak herders. According to another legend, in ancient times, a yak would go to a stone where the pond is located and offer its milk every day. Later, the place was found to be a pond filled with milk, leading to its name, Dudkunda. This has also led to the belief that gods and goddesses reside here. There are 3 different routes to reach Dudkunda. One route is through Salleri, Faplu, Taksindu and Sasra Beni. Another route goes via Lukla, the gateway to the Everest, through Nunthala, Taksindu and Sahasra Beni. Nature has truly blessed the Solu Dudkunda municipality. Truly, just like the majestic Mount Everest, Dudkunda has the potential to be the destination for everyone in the days to come. It is a thread of unity among all castes and ethnicities. Just like the holy water of Dudkunda, it will become a pure and excellent destination.
These hills and valleys are witnesses to change. They hold countless dreams and the aspirations of a prosperous nation. Beneath their natural beauty lies a deeper reality, a true portrait of life. Here, the geography is visible, but the emotions are heard. Our effort is to bring closer the landscape and sentiments of Rukum West, a region filled with dreams, possibilities, and determination. Since the Mid-Hill Highway connected Rukum, it has played a vital role in local development. It has helped market local produce, boosted livelihoods and employment, and promoted the region's stunning nature, languages, arts, and culture. Many older residents never imagined a road passing near their homes or ever riding in a vehicle. Now, as cars glide smoothly over these hills and ridges, their joy is unmistakable. As we pass through the villages of Rukum, we encounter countless stories of hope and trust. Signs of development are increasingly visible at the local level. Vehicles now travel on blacktop roads, and improved access to technology has made rural life more dynamic. Whether it is Sankha in Musikot municipality or Rimna Dobhan in Sani Bheri rural municipality, these communities not only reflect the natural beauty of Rukum West, but also narrate inspiring stories of transformation. Rukum is a district shaped by a decade-long armed conflict. During those years, it stood at the center of national attention. Yet after the peace process, its development trajectory has steadily risen. Improvements in roads, political awareness, education, and healthcare have all played a crucial role in this progress. In the remote terrains, the natural beauty is inseparable from the faces of the people who live here. Expressions of longing, eyes searching for their children, and the countless struggles behind their simple dreams all resonate deeply. Despite stories of positive change, the migration of many young people abroad remains a pressing concern. A district rich in nature and culture now faces the challenge of a shrinking youth population, which limits its potential for prosperity. Traveling this road, crossing rivers, climbing hills, and enjoying the northern Himalayan views is a unique experience. From the lowlands of Jaurjahari, along the banks of Bheri River, through Ramni Dobhan to the district headquarters in Khalanga, and onward through the scenic settlement of Sankha into eastern Rukum, the journey is breathtaking. Yet, this land is still searching for its youth so that its beauty can be tied to prosperity. Here in this rugged terrain, the reality is visible and the emotions you hear are true. CPN-UML party enters decisive phase of its 11th National Congress. Party Chair Oli and Senior Vice Chair file nominations for leadership. Nepal allows up to 25,000 Indian rupees to be carried across the border. Only Indian notes issued after November 2016 to be permitted. Kathmandu Metropolitan City celebrates its 31st anniversary. President Paul calls for a successful upcoming lower house election. Nepal's food security faces challenges from climate risks and market barriers. Despite encouraging production, experts call for targeted investment. Australian Prime Minister Albanese and state leaders agree on tightening gun laws following the country's deadliest mass shooting in nearly 30 years. And Nepal suffers second straight defeat at the ACC Under-19 Asia Cup cricket tournament. Goes down to Bangladesh by 7 wickets. Hello there, I'm Sarah Sapsanamarai and this is NTV World News Hour coming to you live from Kathmandu at 2200 hours Nepal time. Now the news in detail. Nepal's main opposition party, the Communist Party of Nepal, Unified Marxist-Leninist or CPN-UML, has entered a decisive phase of its 11th National Congress. Party chair and former Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has formally filed his candidacy for another term as party leadership. Challenging him is the party's current senior vice chair, Ishwar Pokhrel. 2 separate panels have been formed to contest for the new leadership of CPN-UML party. At the party's 11th Congress underway at Bhrikuti Mandap of Kathmandu, incumbent chair Oli has put forward Surendra Pandey for the position of General Secretary, while Pokhrel has also fielded his own candidacy for the same position. Separate candidacies have been registered for other office-bearer positions. Meanwhile, the party will use 80 electronic voting machines, EVMs, for voting in its 11th National Congress. Voting has been scheduled to start tomorrow at 12 noon. Although 100 machines were brought, only 80 will be used for voting. UML's National General Congress will elect a new 301-member Central Committee shaping the party's leadership and direction in the years ahead. Nepal has set new rules for carrying Indian currency, allowing citizens to bring in or take out up to 25,000 rupees in 200 and 500 denomination notes. The government has specified that only notes issued since November 9, 2016 will be permitted. The decision was announced by government spokesperson and Minister for Communication and Information Technology, Jagadish Kharel, following a cabinet meeting held today. This move aims to simplify cross-border transactions between Nepali and Indian citizens.
राष्ट्रिय योजना आयोगमा देहाय बमोजिम नियुक्त गर्ने निर्णय भएको छ। उपाध्यक्षमा डाक्टर प्रकाश कुमार श्रेष्ठ अर्घाखाँची, त्यस्तै सदस्यमा प्राध्यापक डाक्टर सुनीति श्रेष्ठ हाडा काठमाडौँलाई नियुक्त गर्ने निर्णय भएको छ। 2 प्रचलित कानुनमा व्यवस्था भएकोमा बाहेक सेवा प्रवाहको प्रक्रियामा कागजतको आधिकारिकताका लागि आय टिकटका रूपमा हुलाक टिकट टाँस्ने अभ्यास, प्रचलन वा व्यवस्थालाई हटाउने निर्णय भएको छ। 3 सन् 2016 नोभेम्बर 9 देखि निष्कासन भएका भारतीय रुपैयाँ 200 तथा भारतीय रुपैयाँ 500 दरका नोट नेपाली वा भारतीय नागरिकले प्रति व्यक्ति भारतीय रुपैयाँ 25,000 को सीमासम्म भारतबाट नेपालमा भित्र्याउन र नेपालबाट भारतमा लैजान सक्ने व्यवस्था गरिएको छ। र 4 विभिन्न राजनीतिक दल र सरकारवालाहरूसँग वार्ता गर्नको लागि उच्चस्तरीय राजनीतिक संवाद समिति गठन गरिएको छ। त्यो संवाद समितिको संयोजकमा माननीय कानुन न्याय तथा संसदीय मामिला मन्त्री अनिल सिन्हा संयोजक हुनुहुन्छ। सदस्यमा सूचना तथा सञ्चार तथा सूचना प्रविधि मन्त्री जगदीश खरेल सदस्य हुनुहुन्छ। त्यस्तै प्रधानमन्त्रीका प्रमुख राजनीतिक सल्लाहकार अजय भद्र खनाल सदस्यको रूपमा रहनु भएको छ।
Kathmandu Metropolitan City celebrated its 31st anniversary today with a series of events. The special ceremony at Sainik Banch, Tundikil, was attended by President Ramchandra Podil, who urged everyone to recognize the responsibility entrusted by the people and dedicate themselves to the nation's development. He also called for a successful upcoming House of Representatives election. Mayor Balendra Shah highlighted the city's policy of reducing operational costs while increasing capital expenditure and expanding the tax base to use citizen-collected revenue for public benefit. During the event, individuals with notable contributions and outstanding public representatives were honored with awards. Nepal's agriculture sector, which contributes about 24% of GDP and employs more than 60% of the population, remains vital to the nation's economy. In the fiscal year 2023-24, the country produced 11.2 million tons of cereal crops and over 276,000 tons of pulses, with livestock numbers also growing. Yet, food security faces challenges from climate risks, market barriers, and structural constraints. Unseasonal rainfall and other extreme weather events add further uncertainty. As Nepal launches its Decade of Agriculture investment, experts at the Nepal Food Forum 2025 emphasize that targeted investment, improved market access, and climate resilient systems are crucial to securing the country's food future. Australia is set to tighten gun laws following the country's deadliest mass shooting in nearly 30 years. 15 people, including a child, were killed when a father and son opened fire at a Hanukkah festival in Sydney. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and state leaders have agreed on tougher background checks, banning non-citizens from owning guns and restricting certain weapons.
And I want to conclude finally by saying that the government is prepared to take whatever action is necessary. Included in that is the need for tougher gun laws. And this afternoon at 4 o'clock I will put on the agenda of the National Cabinet.
Nepal's under-19 cricket team has suffered a second straight defeat at the ACC Asia Cup in Dubai. After losing their opener to Sri Lanka, Nepal went down to Bangladesh by 7 wickets. Batting first, Nepal was all out for 130, with Abhishek Tiwari top scoring with 30. Bangladesh chased it comfortably, led by an unbeaten 70 from Jawad Abrar. With 2 losses, Nepal sits bottom of Group B and faces Afghanistan next, with semi-final hopes fading. Kathmandu Metropolitan City marked its 31st anniversary with a grand ceremony attended by President Ramchandra Paudel. Highlights from this celebration, key messages on nation building, and Mayor Balendra Shah's vision for the country coming up after the break. You're watching NTV World, and this is News Hour. Kathmandu Metropolitan City marked its 31st anniversary today with a series of celebratory events. A special program held at Shainik Manch, Tunikil was attended by President Ramchandra Paudel, who encouraged citizens and officials to fulfill their responsibilities and contribute to the country's development. The program recognized the city's achievements and highlighted ongoing initiatives aimed at improving the quality of life for residents. During the celebrations, awards were presented to individuals and public representatives who have made notable contributions to their community, acknowledging their service and dedication. Nepal's President Ramchandra Paudel has called on all leaders to focus on nation building by internalizing the mandate given by citizens. Speaking at the 31st Kathmandu Metropolis Day, the President emphasized leadership with integrity, dedication and innovative thinking to address present needs and hand over a prosperous Nepal to future generations.
मुलुक सामु विद्यमान समस्यालाई निकास दिनका लागि जनताको अभिमत लिने विषय लोकतन्त्रको सबैभन्दा उच्चतम विधि हो। त्यही भएर युवा पुस्ताले चाहेको परिवर्तनको चाहनालाई मूर्त रूप दिन आगामी फागुन 21 गते प्रतिनिधि सभाको सदस्यको निर्वाचन हुँदैछ। यसलाई सफल पारेर अघि बढौं र सामाजिक न्याय सहितको सुशासनका माध्यमबाट समृद्ध नेपाल निर्माणको अभियानमा सहभागी बनौं भन्ने अपिल पनि म यस अवसरमा गर्दछु।
During the celebrations for KMC's 31st anniversary, Mayor Balendra Shah said the city is focusing on reducing operational costs while improving service quality. Shah highlighted infrastructure upgrades, heritage conservation, urban beautification and the use of citizen-collected taxes for local development.
धुलो रहित सडक कार्यक्रम अन्तर्गत 55 किलोमिटर सडक सुधारको काम सम्पन्न भएको छ। 62 वटा चोकमा हाईमास्ट लाइट जडान गरिएको छ। स्रोत साधन र प्रविधिले उच्चतम प्रयोग गर्दै सडक बत्तीको गुणस्तर कायम गराउन रात्रिकालीन शहरी सौन्दर्यलाई एकनास बनाउन 5318 वटा पोलमा 13340 वटा बत्ती राखेर शहरलाई उज्यालो बनाउँदैछौँ।
We're going for a short break here. After the break, a closer look at the challenges facing Nepal's agriculture sector, from climate risks to investment gaps, and a special report on indigenous crops in Thading that could hold the key to sustainable food security. Stay with us. Welcome back to NTV World News Hour. Local governments in Nepal's mid-hills have rolled out new programs aimed at safeguarding indigenous crops, encouraging farmers to bring back traditional varieties such as millet, buckwheat, barley and foxtail millet that once faced extinction. Rojina Rai, with support from Dhading correspondent Shiva Silwal, brings this report.
Predominantly still an agricultural country, Nepal ranks 72nd among 123 countries in the 2025 Global Nutrition Index, issued as per the World Health Organization (WHO). Nepal remains largely off track in meeting the targets set by WHO's Global Nutrition Target 2025 on nutrition and food security. As concerns over nutrition security grow, traditional Nepali crops are gaining renewed importance. Local governments have made headway in announcing plans to run campaigns to preserve and promote indigenous species of food crops. With the demand steadily rising, farmers in Nepal's mid-hill and high-hilly regions are cultivating seasonal indigenous crops more than earlier years. Several programs have been introduced to encourage pesticide-free, eco-friendly production techniques to ensure the natural qualities of indigenous crops.
पहिला थिएन, अहिले यो होमस्टे क्राइसिस आएपछि यसरी हामीले नयाँ नयाँ अर्गानिक चीज यहाँ भएको के रे पहिलादेखि भइरहेको यो फापर अनि त्यसपछि कोदो मकै धान त पहिलेदेखि हो, यिनीहरू पनि लाउन थालेछ।
Training sessions are being conducted on soil and water conservation, organic pest and disease control, and long-term seed preservation for sustainability of traditional crops. Experts believe this will improve Nepal's standing in the World Nutrition Index while also supporting rural agro-tourism. With the rise in people's acceptance of locally produced delicacy, homestay operators in rural areas are increasingly serving traditional cooking prepared from millet, maize, barley, wheat, promoting both Nepal's food legacy and local agriculture. Nepal's dependence on imported food grains still a bitter reality, but the renewed focus on promoting indigenous crops can slowly but surely help.
Nepal's agriculture sector underpins the national economy, but evolving climate risks, market barriers and lack of proper targeted investments and interventions continue to challenge the country's food security. Vijeta Bhandari brings you more.
Nepal's agricultural sector remains a prominent part of the economy, contributing to over 24% of the national GDP and employing more than 60% of the population. But food security still remains a challenge through factors such as climate change and market constraints. Agriculture is not only the backbone of the economy, but it is also key to meeting Sustainable Development Goal number 2, Zero Hunger, which seeks to end hunger, improve nutrition, and build resilient, sustainable food systems by 2030. According to the statistical information on Nepalese Agriculture 2023-24, aggregate production of major cereal crops reached over 11.2 million tons, pulses aggregating to 276,000 metric tons, and livestock like goats numbered in around 15 million. Yet, food security is not assured simply by production. Recent extreme weather events such as unseasonal rainfall further exacerbate production volatility.
Nepal's agriculture sector continues to face growing challenges, particularly due to increasing climate risks and disasters. A recent example is the unseasonal rainfall in October 2025, which caused an estimated rupees 868 million in economic losses and affected approximately 10,840 hectares of cultivated land. Agricultural commercialization and the development of competing markets remain key challenges.
The Nepal Food Forum 2025, Kathmandu, jointly organized by the Government of Nepal and the FAO-led hand-in-hand initiative, brought together stakeholders to explore investment-ready value chains and solutions.
फुड एभाइलेबिलिटी खाद्यको उपलब्धताको तहमा मात्रै बुझ्ने गरिन्छ तर खाद्य सुरक्षा त्यो मात्र हैन मान्छेले आफ्नो कल्चरली उले चाहिँ आफ्नो सांस्कृतिक रूपमा मन पर्ने उलाई मन पर्ने र आफूले उब्जाउन सक्ने त्यसमा उसको चाहिँ अपनत्व रहने खालको चाहिँ खाद्य प्रणालीहरु खाएको छ कि छैन त्यो चाहिँ मेन खाद्य सुरक्षाको प्रश्न हो स्थानीय स्तरमा स्थानीय स्रोतहरुको प्रयोग गरेर र स्थानीय चाहिँ किसानहरुको स्वामित्व रहने गरी जब हामीले चाहिँ उनीहरुलाई पुग्ने खालको खाद्यान्नहरु उत्पादन गर्न सक्छौं त्यो अवस्थालाई मात्र खाद्य सुरक्षा भन्ने लाग्छ मलाई.
As Nepal advances its decade of agriculture investment 2024 to 2034, it serves as a reminder. Increasing investment and production is only a part of the equation. Sustainable progress depends on improving market access, attracting targeted investment, and building systems resilient to climate risk. Vijeta Bhandari with camera person Samir Thapa reporting for NTV World.
And in this context, we asked stakeholders at a recent symposium, what do you see as the biggest hurdles to achieving food security in Nepal? Here's what they had to say.
बिग एउटा च्यालेन्ज खाद्य सुरक्षाको लागि चाहिँ भनेको युथको विलिङनेस एग्रिकल्चरमा नहुनु हो. अहिले युथहरु चाहिँ आईसीटी अथवा एकदम बिग व्हाइट कोलार जबहरु एकदमै ह्युज इकोनोमीमा रमाइरहेको बेला अलिकति बढी श्रम चाहिने र अलि बढी हाम्रो सामाजिक मनोविज्ञानमा फोहोरी क्षेत्र कृषिमा लाग्न खासै धेरै विलिङनेस देखिएको छैन.
जस्तो हाम्रो नेपालको परिप्रेक्ष्यमा चाहिँ आदिवासी अपाङ्गता भएको प्लस आदिवासी समुदायको व्यक्तिहरु चाहिँ वन जंगलको छेउमा बसोबास गर्ने प्राय हुन्छ हैन. अनि त्यसपछि बसाई जस्तो बाढी पहिरो त्यहाँको विभिन्न खानीहरु उत्खनन गर्ने क्रममा चाहिँ बसाई सर्ने त्यसकारणले गर्दाखेरि अपाङ्गता भएर जस्तो आफ्नो ठाउँमा बस्न नसक्ने हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ जुन पहिलेदेखि गर्दै आएको चाहिँ हाम्रो पुस्ता हस्तान्तरण भएन. जस्तो मेरो जेनेरेसनसम्म मेरो पुस्ताले के गरिरहेको मैले जानेको थिए भने म पछाडिको पुस्ताहरु चाहिँ सहर बजारमा छ र त्यो ठाउँको चाहिँ पुस्ता हस्तान्तरण नभएकोले एकदमै भोलिपछि ठूलो संकट पर्ने हो कि भन्ने चाहिँ मलाई डर छ.
Food security, like what are the major scarcity and challenges? We can see a lot of problem for the fertilizer in the farmers agriculture industry. We don't have any industry for the fertilizer, and we have to export from other country. We can't able to take the fertilizer on time, and we should have our own storage for the food security, food for the future.
फुड सेक्युरिटी भन्ने बित्तिकै अब एग्रिकल्चरमै डिपेन्ड हुन्छ. सो अहिलेको परिवेशमा कस्तो छ भनेपछि एक त ह्युमन रिसोर्सेस भयो होइन, र अर्को चाहिँ यो जुन एग्रिकल्चरमा न्यू टेक्नोलोजीहरू छ भने त्यो अझै पनि हाम्रो नेपालमा होइन भित्रेको छैन. एक किसिमको थ्योरी चाहिँ भइरहेको छ बट नट प्र्याक्टिकल के, त्यो नै एकदमै बिग चाहिँ च्यालेन्ज लाग्छ मलाई चाहिँ होइन. र अर्को चाहिँ यो क्लाइमेट चेन्ज पनि एकदम बिगेस्ट हो होइन. अहिले चाहिँ नै जुन हिसाबले हाम्रो जुन क्लाइमेट चेन्जले जुन हाम्रो मौसमी परिवर्तन रहेको छ त्यसले गर्दाखेरि पनि यो बिग च्यालेन्ज छ.
After 11 years, Nepal's Communist Party, CPN-UML, is set for a two-panel contest at its ongoing 11th National Congress. Party delegates will choose between the incumbent chairperson, KP Sharma Oli's team, and senior vice chair, Iswar Pokhrel's panel, marking a return to panel-based elections that was last seen in 2014. Virat Anupam reports.
After 11 years, CPN-UML, the largest communist party of Nepal, is going for two-panel contest in the ongoing 11th National Congress. Previously, two sides contested for the party positions in the 9th National Congress held from July 9 to 17, 2014. Interestingly, the closed-door sessions of the both editions of the Congress happened to be at the same venue, Rikuti Mandap of Kathmandu. In 10th National Congress held at Chitwan from November 26 to 29, 2021, election was held for individual candidates but not on panel-based elections. Party delegates are happy to have their democratic practice.
In internal democracy, there could be 2 or 3 or more panel also. So this should happen. So if that is the process, then the young, dynamic, and then the professional can enter into the mainstream politics. Mainly, the leadership of KP Sharma Oli got several attacks from different communities since last 6-7 months. So maybe the leadership could be come like the KP Oli.
For the two-panel contest between incumbent chairperson KP Sharma Oli and incumbent senior vice chairperson Iswar Pokhrel, candidates for vital positions from both teams are floated. The powerful post of party general secretary will be contested between Shankar Pokhrel and Surendra Pandey. Pokhrel represents Oli panel and Pandey is from Pokhrel block.
Looking at this election, National Congress of CPN-UML, obviously, there are two panels. We don't call it faction. There is a very positive panels, and both are doing very healthy competition. And regarding my perspective and my point of view, this is a very healthy competition, and it should be. This is the perfect example of democracy and democratic process that the party is practicing in its internal leadership selection.
The Congress is headed to elect a 301-member Central Committee. With camera person Samir Thapa, Virat Anupam reporting for Public Service Broadcasting, NTV World, Kathmandu.
Nepal's Election Commission has said it is in the final stages of preparing the Code of Conduct for the House of Representatives election scheduled for March 5. Under the proposed Election Code of Conduct 2082, all candidates will be required to conduct both campaign income and expenditure strictly through banks and financial institutions. Candidates must open a separate bank account, keep all bills and receipts, and disclose sources of income to ensure transparency in election financing. The code also requires candidates to declare their spending limits at the time of nomination and appoint a responsible official to manage campaign expenses. All expenditures will be subject to post-election auditing. Political parties will face similar requirements, with spending ceilings expected to range between 2.5 to 3.3 million rupees, depending on voters and geography. Meanwhile, the Commission has granted permission to a total of 27 national and 4 international organizations to observe the House of Representatives elections 2026. The Commission gave the accreditation in accordance with the Election Observation Guidelines 2079. The approved national observers include prominent civil society, human rights, governance, youth, women's rights, and media organizations. Nepal is sending 2 elephants, Khagendra Prasad and Rudra Kali, to Qatar as a historic diplomatic gift, marking the first time the Himalayan nation has presented elephants abroad. The farewell ceremony took place at Chitwan National Park, where the young elephants were born and raised ahead of their flight to Qatar on December 17. Smithu Gising Tamang brings a report with the help of our local correspondent, Rajendra Gautam.
The heart of Chitwan National Park, a UNESCO heritage site and one of Nepal's most important conservation landscapes today, was witness to a unique sight, one filled with happiness and sorrow. 2 of its beloved inhabitants, Khagendra Prasad and Rudra Kali, were bade farewell with heavy hearts, but ones filled with hopes that these ambassadors would help foster ties with Nepal's dear friend Qatar. In this moment, a unique chapter of diplomacy was unfolding, one built not on the documents or trade, but on wildlife. The decision of Nepal government to gift the elephants to Qatar government follows the official visit of Qatar's Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani to Nepal earlier this year. Both elephants were born and raised at the Elephant Breeding and Training Center in Korsor inside the national park. Khagendra, a 6-year-old male, and Rudrakali, a 7-year-old female, have grown up under professional care, becoming part of Nepal's long-term conservation efforts. The elephants will be transported by road from Chitwan to Gautam Buddha International Airport in Bhairava before being flown directly to Qatar on a chartered Qatar Airways flight on December 17. To ensure their health and safety, a veterinarian and 2 experienced handlers from Nepal will accompany them for 1 month during their journey and initial settlement. After completing all international procedures, including approvals under the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species, Nepal's Council of Ministers formally endorsed the gift. Nepal has practiced wildlife diplomacy for decades, previously gifting one-horned rhinoceroses to friendly nations as symbols of trust, cooperation, and conservation success. However, this is the first time Nepal is gifting elephants, marking a historic milestone in the country's conservation diplomacy.
And moving on, the 12th General Convention of the Non-Resident Nepali Association, NRNA, is scheduled for February 23rd to 25 in Kathmandu. The announcement came after a steering committee meeting on Sunday following the unification of different NRNA groups. In a joint press release, General Secretaries Gauri Raj Joshi and B.R. Lama confirmed the convention date and highlighted decisions made to strengthen organizational unity and internal management. The association plans regional dialogues to promote NRNA unity among Nepalese worldwide. International news coming up next. For now, a quick recap of the headlines. CPN-UML party enters decisive phase of its 11th National Congress. Party Chair Oli and Senior Vice Chair file nominations for leadership. Nepal allows up to 25,000 Indian rupees to be carried across the border. Only Indian notes issued after November 2016 to be permitted. Kathmandu Metropolitan City celebrates its 31st anniversary. President Paudel calls for a successful upcoming lower house election. Nepal's food security faces challenges from climate risks and market barriers. Despite encouraging production, experts call for targeted investment. Australian Prime Minister Albanese and state leaders agree on tightening gun laws following the country's deadliest mass shooting in nearly 30 years. And Nepal suffers second straight defeat at the ACC Under-19 Asia Cup Cricket Tournament. Goes down to Bangladesh by 7 wickets. Australia's leaders have agreed to tighten gun laws following the country's deadliest mass shooting in nearly 3 decades. 15 people were killed when a father and son opened fire at a Jewish Hanukkah festival at Sydney's Bondi Beach on Sunday, triggering panic among large holiday crowds. A child was among the victims. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese met state and territory leaders on Monday, with officials agreeing to strengthen national gun laws. Proposed measures include tougher background checks, banning non-citizens from owning firearms and restricting certain weapons. The father was shot dead at the scene while his son remains in critical condition. Authorities say the attack was a targeted anti-Semitic assault. Meanwhile, the parents of Ahmed Al-Ahmed are calling their son a hero after he wrestled a gun from one of the Bondi Beach attackers during a deadly shooting that killed 15 people. The 43-year-old fruit shop owner was shot multiple times and is now awaiting surgeries.
He has a fruit shop that sells fruit and other produce. He's been here since 2006 and he's an Australian citizen. What happened is, his friend told him, "Let's go have coffee at Bondi." They got there and were shocked to see armed men firing their weapons and terrorists. Their lives were in danger. He noticed one of the armed men at a distance, from him hiding behind a tree. My son is a hero. He served with the police and in the Central Security Forces, and he has the impulse to protect people. When he saw people laying on the ground and the blood everywhere, immediately his conscience and his soul compelled him to pounce on one of the terrorists and to rid him of his weapon. At the same moment, the armed man's other friend was on the bridge, or whoever he is. I feel pride and honour because my son is a hero of Australia.
I'm proud that my son was helping people. He saved lives, souls. God would not harm him because he was a do-gooder. My son has always been brave, helps people. He's like that. He saw they were dying and people were losing their lives. And when that guy ran out of ammo, he took it from him, but he was hit. We pray that God saves him.
Well, South Korea's special counsel has released the results of its 6-month investigation into former President Yoon Suk-yeol. The team concluded that Yoon declared martial law to consolidate power and protect his wife, Kim Kon-hee, from potential legal risks. The investigation reviewed his action during a period of civil unrest, assessing whether they amounted to an abuse of authority. A total of 24 individuals, including Yoon and former Defense Minister Kim Yong-hyun, are now facing trial. The special counsel says it will maintain indictments, signaling significant political and legal consequences ahead. Cambodia has accused Thailand of conducting airstrikes deep inside its territory, escalating a border conflict and raising concerns for civilian safety near major cultural sites. The alleged bombings reportedly struck areas less than 2 hours from Angkor, the country's famed temple complex. Cambodian Information Minister Nath Phektra said Thai F-16 jets flew more than 70 kilometers into Cambodian airspace, targeting multiple locations, including civilian infrastructure, far from the immediate border zone. Authorities continue to assess the situation amid rising tensions between the neighboring countries. A tragic bus accident in Colombia's Antioquia department has killed 17 people, including 16 high school students celebrating graduation and the bus driver. The bus plunged into a ravine near Remedios, leaving 20 others injured and hospitalized. Rescue teams worked through difficult terrain to aid survivors. Officials called it a heartbreaking loss for the community, and investigators are now working to determine the cause. Schools in Delhi and surrounding areas have shifted to online classes, and construction work has been banned as the city struggles with hazardous air quality. On Monday, a toxic haze reduced visibility, delaying flights and trees.